What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk Studios this morning. A big thanks for tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in from. We've got those radio dials 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also, stream it online, Sports Talk 1051, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook. All that good stuff this morning. But happy Thursday, everybody. What do we have on our game plan for us this morning? Brewers picking up another win last night against the Angels. 9-2 victory was kind of the, Blake Perkins and Sal Frelick and Brandon Woodruff show last night. Of the 9 runs, Blake Perkins, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 RBIs for Blake Perkins last night. Sal Frelick had 3 coming from his home run shots. And Brandon Woodruff going 5 innings and striking out 9 to pick up his 7th win on the season. So, magic number started to get a little bit down. Cubs did pick up a win yesterday. They clinched at least a postseason spot. But thanks to the Dodgers defeating the Phillies yesterday. So, Brewers moving a little bit up there, But got your updated magic number to win the NL Central. That 6 posts for the top seed is going to be 8. So we are in the single digits there now. We're in the single digits when it comes to that top overall seed in the National League. Brewers got one more game tonight going up against the Angels before they'll be taking on the Cardinals. So hopefully maybe getting a sweep. Brewers have at least secured a series win, but maybe they'll get a sweep there. You got Quinn Priester on the mound going for the Crew. Crew looking for their 94th win on the season, sitting at 93, 4 wins away from setting a franchise record for the most wins in a season. So we'll break this down, recap last night's game, look ahead to tonight's series finale. Also, kind of throwing this out here too for you Brewers fans, because it's going to be a topic of conversation going forward. No, Jose Quintana was placed on the 15-day injured list with his quad, but we did get Nick Mears back. And also, Pat Murphy may be giving a little bit of a hint on who could be joining the big league club. Before the game, Pat Murphy talking about Robert Gasser saying, I think you'll see him soon, after he threw another just under 3 innings of scoreless work at AAA. So maybe Robert Gasser coming up on the big league club, coming out of the pen, providing a little bit more depth there. So question I kind of threw out there on my Facebook page last night, and I got a couple of them. Just I wanted to get a heads up on kind of what our game plan was for this morning and get your opinion. So you are Pat Murphy. Okay, put yourself in the shoes of Brewers manager Pat Murphy. And you're putting together a 4-man starting rotation for the playoffs. Assuming everybody's healthy, how does it look? Who's your 4-man rotation? We've been talking about it off and on, but I want to throw it in your court now. How would you set up that 4-man pitching rotation for the postseason? I would assume we would all have the same 3, unless somebody's got a different idea. But I would assume that all the top 3 that everybody would pick would be Peralta, Woodruff, Priester. But if we do a 4-man rotation, are you going now? Again, assuming everybody's healthy. So this is under the assumption that Quintana will be back. Do you go Quintana? Do you go Miz? Do you go a little bit of a bullpen start where you've got, guys in your bullpen that can get you a couple innings each, and you put Miz in the bullpen in that, or maybe even Quintana? It's kind of a combo piggyback start. How would you set up that rotation when it comes to the postseason, assuming everybody's going to be available and assuming everybody's healthy? All right. And I did kind of make that a poll question too for our post glass and mirror 715 speaks poll question. And I'll admit, of the votes, I'm a little surprised it went this way. I thought maybe it'd be a little bit closer, but how it's at right now, 63% of the people who have voted so far have picked Quintana to be that fourth person in the rotation if they go with a four-man rotation. So how would you set it up, Brewers fans? I want to hear from you, okay? Let me know. Hit me up with a text. Not Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Or you can also comment on the video streams if you would rather do that. So we'll talk some Brewers and throw that in the talking points here. We're going to talk a little green and gold, talk a little football as the Packers returned to practice yesterday. And gosh darn it, outside of Jayden Reed, everybody practiced. And it makes sense why Jayden Reed, he's recovering from 2 surgeries right now. Packers have not made a corresponding roster move, but I mean, they'll probably do one this weekend. So, but nonetheless, fairly healthy. That means Aaron Banks practiced in a limited role. Zach Tom practiced in a limited role. Aaron Banks telling the media yesterday that he's going to play. Tom, though, according to reporters there and what he said to reporters, still struggling to run a little bit. Didn't do really any team stuff from what the reporters witnessed there. So if I were a betting person right now, if I had to make a prediction, my guess would be that Zach Tom is not going to play this weekend, but Aaron Banks would. So I feel like, I don't know about the rest of you, but I feel like if that's the case, if Zach Tom does not play and Aaron Banks does, I want to see Jordan Morgan move over to the right tackle spot. I know he all offseason, preseason, training camp, he spent the majority of his time at left tackle and at left guard, even right guard. Didn't really get a ton of snaps, if any, at right tackle. But if it were me and I'm Matt LaFleur and I've over the years have kept saying the 5 best will play, if Tom's not in there, Jordan Morgan is a part of the 5 best. And I'm putting him at right tackle instead of the second-round rookie Belt. I would trust Morgan more over there if that's where Myles Garrett's going to be lining up the majority of the time. Morgan, while he was playing left tackle in preseason and training camp, especially the preseason games, was consistently one of the highest graded offensive tackles. I feel like he's over there at right tackle. I feel better about that side. No offense to Belton, but right now, I mean, you given where this team's at, the goals they have, the aspirations they have, the expectations and such, put Morgan over there instead of Belton so you're not playing with fate to potentially having Jordan Love taking some unnecessary hits or moving around or anything like that. I hope that's the case. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, but I hope that's what they do. Maybe I'm off on that one. Maybe I'm over exaggerating or such, but I mean, that's how I feel. But also with the Packers too, we know that there is no Jayden Reed. And then again, this was a part of the post I put up last night just to kind of get some feedback from you all. With Jayden Reed expected to miss extended time, who do you think, and for lack of a better word, I don't know what else to describe, but who do you think benefits the most, or who do you think will rise to the challenge? I hate saying benefits because, I mean, Jayden Reed's not playing because he's hurt and having surgery and that. But who do you think benefits the most with Jayden Reed not in a lineup? Who do you think is going to be utilized more or maybe rises to that challenge? Or maybe the better question is who do you want to see? Right now we're 2 weeks in, and you've got some fans already freaking out about Matthew Golden not being a bigger part of the offense. Maybe it's Matthew Golden. Maybe it's Savion Williams. So we'll talk some green and gold here this morning. New segment called Am I Wrong? It's kind of a twofold here. One, send me some sports statements, sports related statement that you believe you are right about, that you believe you're pretty adamant about. And maybe we'll debate it a little bit. It's like the Big Lebowski. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? You know what I'm talking about. John Goodman's character, Big Lebowski. Am I wrong? That's kind of what we're doing here. So give me a bold sports statement where at the end we could say, or you could add, am I wrong? Maybe we'll debate it a little bit. I did get one last night. You know what? It was a private message too, so I hope I can say it on air. Well, I'm going to. So, but for example, like we have a listener, Greg, that said, "Here's my am I wrong? I've been saying this for years regarding punt return. Don't block anybody. Have a deep and shallow returner and just call fair catch. With penalties, the average punt return has been almost negative. They're giving the ball back. Just take it and bring your offense back up." Is he wrong? Is he wrong? Is Greg wrong? Let's have a little fun with this, all right? So send me your sports statements for a little am I wrong? We've got Eric Balkman joining us at 9:05, fantasy football expert, Mr. Eric Balkman, answering your fantasy football questions. So, we got weeks. There's probably quite a few of you that have players in this game tonight. If you got any questions for that game or even for this weekend, text them on over. All right, 715-830-1912. Eric will be joining us again at 9:05, answering your fantasy football questions. Eric's from Fantasy Football Players Championship, High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, RotoViz, Better Network. He's on Sirius XM, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So any questions you may have, like, do I start so-and-so over so-and-so? Who do I pick between these guys in my lineup? Whatever you got, send them on over. Eric will help answer those questions. So no outdoors with Jake. Jake's out of town here. So if you have any questions for Jake, you'll have to save those for next week. But let's get things rolling here this morning, shall we? Let's talk a little Brewers. All right, Brewers with another win last night. Getting closer to that magic number. That's dwindling down here. Also, what would you do, as I threw out the question a few minutes ago, if you're Pat Murphy, who's your four-pitcher rotation, assuming everybody's healthy? Okay, let's operate under that assumption that everybody's healthy. And is Robert Gasser part of that equation too? Huh? Let's talk about it, all right? We'll take our first break, and then the leadoff coming up. We're going to talk some Brewers baseball. Plenty of Packers chat on the docket as well. Join in on the fun, all right? I want to hear from you. I want to hear your input. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Oktoberfest starts tomorrow at the Northern Wisconsin State Fairgrounds in Chippewa Falls. Head to our website, sportstalk1051.com, for more details, schedule of events, vendors, bands, all the good stuff, all the info you need for the 22nd annual Oktoberfest beginning tomorrow. And don't forget, too, before it, it's the 5th annual Kegs and Eggs. Going to be at the Northern Wisconsin State Fairgrounds tomorrow morning from 8 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. Attendees will get free entry to Oktoberfest, breakfast, and one free drink ticket. Free donations for 4-H and Oktoberfest are encouraged, plus a free hat for the first 25 people to join. That all begins tomorrow. So, all right, let's get the leadoff going here this morning, shall we? Let's talk a little Brewers, baby. Huh? Brewers last night picking up a 9-2 victory over the Angels of Los Angeles. It was the Blake Perkins and Sal Frelick and Brandon Woodruff show last night. Had of the 9 runs, Perkins contributing 5 RBIs, Sal Frelick with 3 thanks to his home run, and Brandon Woodruff going 5 innings, giving up just 2 hits, 1 earned run coming off a home run, striking out 9, not issuing a single walk. Not a single walk for Brandon Woodruff. So Nick Mears made his return last night, too, coming in relief. Did give up a hit and an earned run off solo shots from a home run. Eric Fetty wrapping it up with a couple innings there. Then Uribe towards the end there. Dude looked good. 1 hit, giving up 3 Ks, just getting a little work in there. But Brandon Woodruff picking up his 7th win on the season to improve to 7-2 with a 3.20 ERA. Brewers, 6 total hits from the game, 2 of them again from Perkins. So it was a Blake Perkins game last night at the bottom of the order there. So gotta like that, right? But so the Brewers will try to go for a series sweep later on tonight. It is a night game, even though they're wrapping it up. It is a night game here. We get Quinn Priester on the mound for the Brewers. And the question I'm throwing out to you, Brewers fans, here is, if you're Pat Murphy, how are you setting up your rotation, your playoff rotation, assuming if everybody is healthy? Assuming that everybody's healthy, how do you have this set up? Got a couple of you already chiming in here right now, which I'll get to here in a second, but a quick update on where things stand, because we're doing a little scoreboard watching, right? Where's the magic number when it comes to the Brewers and clinching division? Cubs clinched at least a playoff spot yesterday. Phillies lost yesterday, which means Brewers right now, they've got for the Central, it's at 6, combination of wins and losses. That 1 seed looks like it's at 8 right now for the Crew. So that's where we're kind of at with the magic number. Again, combination of wins and losses to get that division. Actually, it's at 7. It looks like. I think that one I was looking at was before the conclusion of the Phillies and Dodgers. So it looks like it's at 7. I know there's a couple of different ones out there, but I'm gonna kind of go with this one. So, anyways, we're getting close to wrapping this thing up finally. But if you're doing a little scoreboard watching and like, okay, who do the Cubs play coming up here now that they're done with the Pirates and that? Well, they got the Reds, and that starts tonight. So they're traveling to Cincinnati. If you're wondering where things stand for the Reds in terms of, how far are they from a wild card spot? Are they kind of still in it and such? Will the Reds even be a challenge for the Cubs? Because we're, even though the Brewers control their own destiny, you probably want a little help so we can wrap this thing up at this point in time. Reds are just 2 games back. They're just 2 games back in this thing. And there's an opportunity here because Diamondbacks are playing the Phillies. It's one of those, it's like, Kind of, you want the Diamondbacks to win because it helps out the Brewers, knocking down the Phillies. Same time, you want the Reds to win right now for the Cubs and that. So it's definitely some intriguing matchups coming up here. No question about it. Cardinals, for what it's worth, 4.5 back. They're just 3-7 in their last 10, and they've got Milwaukee. Off day today for the Cardinals before taking on Milwaukee and that. But everything else in the National League is kind of the same. Mets are holding on to that final spot. Diamondbacks 1.5 back. Reds are 2 back. You've got 4 teams in the National League that have clinched playoff spots, or 2, right? Yeah, 2. So my apologies, 2. I got confused with the Dodgers little number there, but that's nothing. So no, 3. Yeah. What am I? Figured out, Dan. Brewers, Phillies, and Cubs have 3. Not the Dodgers yet, but they'll probably get in there. We know that. American League, there is nobody yet. No. You got the Blue Jays still at the top. Tigers, Houston, Yankees, Boston, Seattle still holding on. But, Seattle and Houston are flip-flop spots, actually. Seattle was for the last couple days in the division lead. Cleveland now 2.5 back. The Rangers are 4.5 back. So that's kind of where things stand as we are starting to wrap up the regular season here. But Brewers, looking at the rest of their schedule, just 10 games left to go. Be 9 after today's series finale. Cardinals, Padres, and then you wrap it up with the Reds. Man, that could be, I mean, depending on what the Padres, where they're kind of at with everything, still chasing the Dodgers here. I mean, they're just a couple back from the Dodgers for a division. It's going to be a really good series for the Crew and for the Padres, too. Good test before getting to the postseason, for crying out loud. So I don't know how it's all going to shake out when the regular season's over with here. Will they be able to get any rest for some of their pitchers, bullpen guys, or any of these guys before the postseason and such? Brewers might have to go into that final series with something still to play for. But if you were Pat Murphy, put yourself in Pat Murphy's shoes. How would you, assuming everybody's healthy, how would you set up this rotation? I think we could all agree, unless somebody's got a different idea, but I think we could all agree we know the 3, the top 3. Peralta, Woodruff, Priester. But if it's a 4-man rotation, how do you see this thing playing out? How do you see it going then? Do you go with Quintana? Again, assuming everybody's healthy. And I know Quintana just went on the injured list, retroactive back to the 15th. But assuming he's going to be back in time, because math tells us he'd be, ready by or cleared by the end of the month. Do you go Quintana because of the experience? Do you go Miz with the electric power stuff that he has? Or do you go a little combo? Maybe bullpen, piggyback starts. How would you go about it? I was a little surprised when we did the poll to see the wide range of, the gap from Quintana to the Mizorowski. I mean, after a couple starts, it wasn't that long ago when we put up a poll question and we said, all right, who do you trust the most right now on the mound for a starting pitcher for the Brewers? It wasn't even close to at least those who voted. It was Mizorowski. And, of course, a lot of things have changed in the last couple months. Miz has shown a little wild side, consistency issues with him. So, opinions have changed a little bit. But I think we could agree we probably still want Miz at least a part of this ball club, right? Maybe coming out of relief and doing a couple innings or such. But I'll tell you, I'm still kind of debating on how I would want to do the 4th. And it's between 2 options right now. It's between Quintana, because I think experience does kind of help here a little bit. But I'm kind of intrigued with the combo, bullpen, piggyback, whatever the heck you want to call it. and just doing shorter stints with a couple guys. Maybe it is a Quintana where you throw out there a couple innings, and then you have the Miz, or maybe you throw in a Robert Gasser as part of that. The Robert Gasser one, I want to see him though. I want to see him getting into some big league games here. And Pat Murphy said, he kind of forecasted it, foreshadowed. He said, I think you're going to see him soon, which I think we all agree we're probably going to see him get some work in. And I want to see him pitch a few of these regular season games before we're ready to put him on a postseason roster in that. I mean, so far at the minor leagues, he has pitched in 14 games. He has started 10 of those. He has pitched 38 innings. 3-2 with a 2.37 ERA. And he's coming off of another game yesterday. Got credited with the win. He went 2 2/3, striking out 3, issuing just 1 walk, no hits. His last 2 starts, or his last 2 appearances, he has only given up 1 hit, struck out 7, and 1 walk. That's it. I mean, he looks like he's ready to go. I mean, so far in the month of September, he has given up 1 single earned run. That's it. He is in 5 games. Robert Gasser has a .68 ERA. But I want to see it at the major league level first. I want to see him get some innings in against big league hitters. And if he's doing that against big league hitters, or he's even doing what he was doing last year before he got hurt, all right then. Now we got something. But if that's going to be the Gasser that we're going to get, what a boost to that bullpen. And a bigger boost to that bullpen. A little bit of a fresher arm, right? I mean, he missed a ton of time coming back from Tommy John surgery. But for the most part, it's a fresh arm that you're going to be getting, and maybe a fresh, dynamic arm. Somebody that nobody has seen yet this year. How big of a benefit would it be for the Brewers to have him coming out of the pen? And that's how they've been preparing him. They've got such, and I know I mentioned this before, but the Brewers have such unique options coming out of the pen because, these guys that can give you multiple innings. And that's where I'm intrigued with, all right, that 4th spot in the rotation, you've got options. I mean, if DL Hall's back, he's a guy that can give you a couple innings. We know Aaron Ashby is. We know Eric Fetty is. We know Robert Gasser is. We know Mizorowski and Quintana can as well. But it also protects them a little bit too. Let's say Peralta starts in game 1 of the playoffs, and it's clearly evident dude just doesn't have his stuff right away. You can go to your bullpen, and you got a few options there that can eat up some innings. Or a Woodruff, if he's off, or a Priester just because of the inexperience, and maybe the nerves are getting to him and he's just struggling. It starts like, okay, well, we got guys in the pen that can go a couple innings. They're former starters, or they are starters, and they're just in the bullpen. That's where I'm kind of leaning towards, is that 4th spot in the rotation when it comes to the postseason. Going with a little, whatever, again, you want to call it, a piggyback, a bullpen, a combo, whatever. Because then you can have some fun with that and really mess with an opposing team and opposing manager. Maybe you're starting a lefty and then you go to a righty, and then it just kind of screws up what they want to maybe do in their batting lineup. It's kind of where I'm at. So I think that's where I would go. I think I talked myself into it. And when I say for that poll question, the combo bullpen, that does include Quintana and Mizorowski in there. I think that would present a unique challenge to whoever they would face in the postseason. And if the playoffs started today, right now, we know the Brewers would be the 1 seed, and they would play either the Cubs or the Padres. How about that? Cubs or Padres? I think you gotta try to find some advantages to that, especially, Cubs offense. Maybe you do throw out that bullpen-ish type start. Make it more difficult. I mean, you look at the National League, boy, you got some really because I mean, Brewers would be the 1, obviously, Phillies would be the 2. They would play either the Mets or the Dodgers. I mean, for one, you would either have Phillies Dodgers again, which star power galore, or you would have a division rival with Phillies and Mets going at it in the playoff series. And then Brewers Cubs, you could potentially have a division rival there, and the whole Craig Council thing whole. Major League Baseball and networks are salivating at that potential one. I don't know if I want it just because I'd be a nervous wreck and my stomach would be tied in knots and I'd be so stressed out about it because I want to make sure that we just pound the heck out of the Cubbies. No offense, Cubs fans, but you're probably the same way. But then it's like, oh, Padres and the whole Manny Machado thing, and that's like, at this point, I don't know who I'd rather play. Just want to win. Want to win and go with the series. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll have more Brewers talk coming up here. Talk a little gritty gold as well. Stick around. We'll be back after these few words. Coming up this Sunday, Packtoberfest, VFW Post 305. Fun starts at 9 a.m. VFW Post going to have their breakfast buffet. We've got brats from our good friends at Mike's Star Market, Stein hosting contest, giveaways. We're going to be doing a show, a live pregame show from about 10 to 11, getting ahead of the Green Bay Cleveland game. Plus the 35 customers to show up for the Packtober event. Going to get a free Sam Adams Oktoberfest beer. Then during the game, the VFW Posts, they're going to be featuring happy hour prices and 2 roast beef sliders and Fritos for just $6. Nice. That's a heck of a deal. So hopefully we'll see quite a bit of you on Sunday at the VFW Post 305, located on Star Avenue in Eau Claire. All right, let's coming up in just a little bit. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? New feature, new segment every Thursday. Give me a statement, a sports opinion that you are just adamant about. That you're like, I will debate you. I fully believe in this. Share it with the rest of us. Okay, every Thursday we're gonna have that. Maybe it's something probably as of I'll kind of do mine here coming up here in just a little bit because it's actually related to the Packers and that. So, but for the rest of you, just hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, or you can comment on the video streams with Zach and James over there. All right, share it with everybody. Okay, so get to that here in just a second throughout the morning here. But again, Brewers tonight. Quinn Priester is going to be going on the mound, and actually, he's got a little bit, the opposing pitcher, the lefty Usai, is going up against this Brewers lineup that he's got a little bit of experience with. Vaughn's got 12 career at bats, but he's struggled against him, just an 0.83 batting average. Jansen's got 7 career at bats. Obviously, both those guys spending some time in the American League and such. But otherwise, a couple games worth for everybody else on there. Priester looking for his 14th win of the season and continuing the winning streak that the Brewers have when he is on the mound. Think about this. Priester could hit 14 wins. 14 wins. Okay. That would put him in terms of most wins in Major League Baseball. That would put him at, let me just get the updated list. He's sitting at 13 right now, so top 10. I mean, he's got the same amount of wins right now as Matthew Boyd from the Cubs, Sonny Gray from the Cardinals, Logan Webb from the Giants, Joe Ryan. He's got the same amount of wins as Skubal. And I feel like, again, and you could probably say this for a lot of Brewers people this year, but Quinn Priester still isn't talked enough about for what he has done this year. And it's not like he's just been doing it recently, too. I mean, he's pitched little over 146 innings. And I get it. It's not as much as a Max Fried or a Freddie Peralta or even a Logan Webb. But you're talking about a dude who's got a 3.25 ERA, and he potentially could get his 14th win of the season. He's coming off of a win against the Cardinals where he went 5 1/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. Before that, Pittsburgh, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. He is definitely one of those guys where you could say, where the heck would the Brewers be without Quinn Priester? I don't know what the future holds for Quinn Priester, but let's say he's sticking around for a few years, and I don't know why he wouldn't at this point, but say he's sticking around for a few years here, and he continues this trend, or he continues to get better and better and better. I can't wait to look back at this trade maybe a couple years down the road and be like, boy, did Matt Arnold fleece the Red Sox. Or boy, did Matt Arnold just fool everybody when we were like, man, he paid a lot. He gave up a lot for this guy. I mean, if Quinn Priester continues to go down this path this trend of just being an absolute awesome pitcher. Whew. Matt Arnold, he fleeced a lot of people. I can't wait to see this kid's career continue to evolve with the Brewers here. He's only 25 years old. What's his contract look like? Let me see. How many years of control do we have yet with Quinn Priester here? Let me bring that up before we got to take our final break here for the first hour. Quinn Priester's contract. So he's pre-arbitration for 2026. Pre-arbitration for oh man, they got him. Yeah, they've got him here for a while. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait this Quinn Priester continue to evolve and continue to get better the longer he spends with Chris Hook and his pitching lab with the Brewers. I feel like this guy is good. The sky's the limit for him, and he's just man. Between him, you look at some of the youngsters in the next couple of years for this staff, and I hate saying it, but that's why I feel like after this year, maybe a Peralta, the Brewers do look to move on from. I think a lot's going to depend on the playoffs here, but a few years down the road, you're going to have a rotation that Priester, Miz, Robert Gasser, Chad Patrick, and like a Logan Henderson. All guys who are getting major league experience in big moments this year. That's a hell of a top five. But let's get a World Series this year first before we get down that road, right? All right, let's take our final break, and then am I wrong? Am I wrong? I'll tell you what mine is coming up after these quick words. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you get your picks in for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge. All right, you know the drill. If you've been making some picks, you just go to our website, click on that Fan Cave tab, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then sign in and make your picks. That's simple. We got Buffalo, Miami tonight. So every single game matters at this point, especially if you want some bragging rights at that on the standings. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? New segments we're going to do every Thursday. Greg, last night sending one. Here's my Am I wrong? I've been saying this for years regarding the punt return. Don't block anybody. Have a deep and shallow returner and just call fair catch. With penalties, the average punt return has to be almost negative. They're giving the ball back. Just take it and bring your offense back out. Eli, I'm assuming this is your Am I wrong? But he says Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 quarterback. Look at the completions he had against the Chiefs. Only one over 20 yards and maybe two over 10 yards. All right. There you go. Right? Am I wrong? So am I wrong? And you guys can send yours on over for the rest of the morning. Okay, you can send them on over. Zach, I don't know if this is yours. Jordan Love wins the MVP after taking the Packers to the Super Bowl. I don't know. Is that your? Am I wrong? I'm not. Just I want to double check that. I like it though. Come on now. Let's be positive here. I like that. Am I wrong? If Zach Tom can't go in this game, which I don't think he's going to, even though he returned to practice in a limited role yesterday. But I mean, the fact that he said he's still struggling to run in a straight line, side to side, fine, but like struggling to run, I don't think he plays. At least it's trending that, okay, it's not going to be a long-term thing in that. Aaron Banks says he's going to play. So let's assume Aaron Banks is going to play. Left guard, he's back in there. Right tackle, do you go the rookie Belton, who has practiced all preseason training camp over there? Or do you go Jordan Morgan, who has primarily practiced at left tackle guard? I don't think there's any question. It should be Jordan Morgan. I don't care if he hasn't spent a lot of time repping this year at right tackle. We have seen Anthony Bellton, and I'm not trying to pick on the kid. He's a rookie, okay? Penalties and all that stuff. I just feel like Myles Garrett will have a heyday with Belton over there. And Jordan Morgan was fantastic in preseason and training camp, playing in the left tackle spot. Highly graded, consistently highly graded, especially like for Pro Football Focus and not giving up any pressures in that. But am I wrong in saying if Matt LaFleur truly believes that the 5 best will play, if Zach Tom's not playing, Jordan Morgan is a part of the top 5? Don't get too cute in this thing. Don't overthink it. Belton may go on to be a solid player in the next couple of years. But given what's at stake this year, the goals, the expectations for this team this year, don't be cute. Go put Morgan out. I trust Morgan more than I do Belton right now. If this is a team that has a poo-poo defense and not an all-pro edge rusher like a Myles Garrett, okay, maybe you give Belton some reps. Don't mess around with this. Go put Jordan Morgan over at right tackle. You're probably still going to do some chips with Garrett over there with a tight end. Maybe give him a little bit of help with a blocking tight end staying in line. Maybe the running back gives a little chips or stays back there protection. But I would feel better that you probably don't have to do it as much as you would have to with Belton. Go put Morgan at right tackle. I don't care if he hasn't spent a lot of time this offseason repping over there. He's got tackle experience. He's played at guard. Go put him over there. He has shown that versatility. Go do it. Don't be too cute with this thing. I mean, am I wrong? If it is truly the 5 best will play and you take Tom out, Jordan Morgan is part of that 5 best. I don't want to see a big hit on Jordan Love that could take him out, or I don't want to see Myles Garrett single-handedly making this game a mess for Green Bay. I don't want to see it. I don't overthink this. Don't overthink this. Just put him over there and let's call it a day and give Tom another week. Okay? Especially if Banks is going to play. All right, we're going to get back to some more Brewers talk, more football talk coming up here. Don't forget, if you've got some fantasy football lineup questions, we've got fantasy football expert Eric Balkman joining us every Thursday now, starting at 9:05. So send those on over. Zach says Jordan Morgan has to get the start if Tom can't go. I agree. I think Myles will have a heyday with the rookie. Also, Zach says, with Reed being out, I think Wicks is going to have to step up big, and I think we have seen flashes of that in the last 2 weeks. To add to that, I also think that Romeo is going to have a bigger role to play as well. Side note, oh, yeah, you did. You have your bold statement there, too. All right. Hey, join the video chat with Zach and company over there. 1 hour in. We got a couple more to go. We'll be back after the news updates. All right, second hour kicking off right now on this fantastic Thursday morning. If you're just joining us, again, reminder coming up at 9:05, starting every Thursday going forward. Eric Balkman will be joining us, answering your fantasy football questions. So send those on over. hit us up with a text at 715-830-1912. Or if you want, you can also post them up on the video streams. We'll get those to Eric, and he'll help set up your lineups. Remember, week 3 officially begins tonight, and I got to imagine quite a few of you probably have some players in tonight's game with Buffalo and Miami. So we'll catch up with Eric again starting today throughout, going forward here every Thursday. So also, reminder, Brewers tonight. Kind of weird with the third game. Usually it's a day game and such, getaway, but it is a night game tonight. So 6:40 again. Coverage will begin 35 minutes prior. You can listen to it on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Brewers will be looking to get the sweep against the Angels and hopefully cut down that magic number just a little bit more, getting closer to clinching a division and potentially clinching the number 1 spot in the National League. We've got 3 teams in the National League right now that have clinched playoff spots. That would be the Brewers, Phillies, and the Cubs doing that yesterday. Phillies right now have clinched their division. So we'll get to some more baseball talk coming up here in just a skosh. We'll get back some more Packers talk as well, with the Packers returning to practice, and everybody except Jaden Reed practicing yesterday, so fairly healthy it looks like, but I would probably imagine Zach Tom's still not going to be playing in this game against the Browns. So we'll get to a little bit more green and gold talk coming up a little bit later on. Continue to send me your Am I Wrong sports statements. We'll get to those a little bit later on. C-Bomb had said, I can't tell you you're wrong because you're absolutely right. We saw what Max Crosby did to us in a game last year. We need 2 guys on Garrett at all times, Morgan and Chip with a back or a tight end. It's a good point. I forgot about the Max Crosby game. Was that last year? I think it was 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah, it was Jordan Love's first year as starter. But you're right. I mean, Max Crosby was absolutely dynamite in that game. Question we've been throwing out, we started it off last night on social media and asking this morning with the Brewers, if you could set up your 4-man starting rotation, if you're Pat Murphy right now, how would you set up that 4-man starting rotation? And we made it a poll question too, but a few comments with it. Brian had said, I would go with a 3-man rotation of Woodruff, Peralta, and Priester, then have Miz, Ashby, and Patrick as middle relievers with Uribe and McGill to finish it out. If a 4th starter is needed, you could pick up from any of the 3 middle lines or middle ones, he says over there. Another one, Dave says, give me Peralta, Wu, Priester, Quintana, assuming he's healthy. And then from our poll question results out there, about 63% of you said Quintana, again, assuming everybody's healthy. Quintana, 19% said Mizorowski, 18% said some sort of combination of bullpen, combo, piggyback starts, and such. Reminder, Quintana did go on the injured list yesterday, retroactive back to 9/15, September 15th. But from all accounts, it sounds like he will be back in time for the postseason if the Brewers do want him as a piece for that starting rotation. Quinn Priester will get the start tonight for the Brewers, looking for his 14th win on the season. We got an intern here for a little bit this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
We're doing well.
Yeah.
Watching the Brewers keep winning, putting runs on the board. Things are good.
How would you set up, if you were Pat Murphy, the playoff rotation?
Well, it's hard to say depending on who their
assuming everybody's healthy. Healthy.
And who their opponent is. I think I'd love to have Quintana healthy so you got that left arm. But otherwise, I think Freddie, Woodruff, and Priester you have to start with. I have a concern of where would you use Mizorowski, because sometimes he comes in and he's lights out right from the start. Other times it takes him an inning or 2 to settle down. And if you're coming in relief, you can't afford that. So Murphy's got some real decisions to make, no question about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards for my own pick that combination of a combo bullpen sort of thing, and Pat Murphy yesterday pretty much foreshadowing that Robert Gasser is going to be joining them soon after having a really solid rehab start in AAA and such, and that's another starter. That's why I like about this bullpen. I think it's unique, especially when you get to the postseason. They're going to have multiple options for guys that can get you a couple innings because Miz is going to be on the roster for the playoff roster. It's determined on what role he's going to have. You could potentially have him, maybe a Katana coming out of the pen. Aaron Ashby, who's a former starter. DL Hall is a former starter. You add in Robert Gasser in there as well. I mean, that's 5 guys right there. If they elect to do a bullpen type of start for that fourth spot in the rotation, that's 5 guys that can give you multiple innings, but also protects them in the first 3 games too. If they got to go to somebody in the bullpen, if a Peralta or a Woodruff or a Priester is struggling a little bit, I think that's something very unique that the Brewers have that not many other playoff teams are going to have when they open up the postseason.
I think you're exactly right. And for Murphy, it's not like, well, can I count on Freddie? Can I count on Woodruff? Can I count on Priester? He knows he can count on them. They've shown it during the regular season. You just said Priester's going after his 14th win. Who would have thought that earlier this season? So I think he's really dealing it from a hand of strength as far as the pitching staff. It's just, does he make the right decisions and do these guys perform the way they have during the season? I think it's I don't know if I'm overstating it, but kind of a bounty of pitchers.
Let's assume, because right now if the playoffs started today, the Brewers would either play the Padres or the Cubs. What would be the biggest key? And I know we're kind of forecasting it right now, but what would be the biggest key, since we're talking about pitching, to win that series, whether it's against the Cubs or the Padres? Would it be the pitching or the hitting, the offensive side?
I think the pitching. I'm assuming the offense is going to be there. And I think the pitching is going to make the difference because the Cubs have some guys that can hit the ball too. I don't think they have as deep a pitching roster as the Brewers do. So I think the pitching holding the Cubs down, because I think the Brewers can hit Cubs pitching. As far as the Padres are concerned, they lost their shortstop, but they got Tatis, they got Machado, they got a few other guys. They worry me really more than the Cubs.
I feel, maybe, am I over exaggerating this a little bit? But when you look at, if everybody again is all healthy, you look at depth pieces here for this Brewers team. We were just talking about the pitching part of it, but you look at now position players with Rhys Hoskins back, and he's riding pine because, Andrew Vaughn, and you got Jake Bowers. Even Blake Perkins last night with 5 RBIs, and Isaac Collins has been sitting the last couple of days here too. They've maybe not the biggest power bats, but I feel like they've got options on the bench too for offensive purposes.
And that's why it's going to be interesting to see how many pitchers he puts on the postseason roster versus some of these guys you just mentioned, because they've all produced. Well, Rhys Hoskins hasn't played, obviously being hurt, but all those other guys you mentioned, they have produced. They do deserve a chance in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting how he structures this playoff roster.
Yeah. Reminder, the team, it's a 26-man roster that they have to submit prior to each round of the postseason. And then, injury-wise, that can change in that. So a pitcher may be replaced only by another pitcher, and a position player may only be by another position player if there is, like an injury or something like that. So, but that is going to be something kind of, I'd rather have Pat Murphy, Matt Arnold, or whoever is going to be involved in making those. I would assume it's going to be more so Pat Murphy and his coaching staff. It's a problem, but it's a good problem to have so many options. There's going to be guys that are going to have to sit that were contributors at some point this year. It's just a numbers game at this point.
At least for one series, because as you said, they can restructure it somewhat between series. And hopefully they've got that situation to deal with, that it's not one and done. They're going to progress through the playoffs. So it'll be interesting. I'm sure that Murphy and Arnold are talking about it already.
Yeah, I'm curious too. That's where I want to see Robert Gasser gets if he is going to be coming up here soon, which again Murphy kind of alluded to. Doing good stuff in AAA, but I want to see it now against big league hitters before you kind of throw him in. I want to see him get some plenty of work coming up here in the final days of the regular season.
Yeah, and I think that's where for the Brewers and a lot of these players that are maybe on the edge, will they be or won't they be on that roster? They're still going to be performing.
Mhm.
They're both pitchers and guys in the field. Now, I think Collins and Durbin, some of those guys have, they're solid. They're going to be there. But some of these other guys, Reese Hoskins and Vaughn, are they going to put both of them? Because they're
Yeah,
basically the same player.
because I'll tell you what, I want Blake Perkins to still be on there for,
Yeah.
I mean, look what he did last night hitting wise, but I mean, defensively, I mean, that guy watching him defend, I know it was a home run the other night and he almost robbed it. He tried to, but the effort, the effortlessness of him trying to like, I mean, he was just casually going up to the wall and he just casually like jumped up to try to get it. It missed, it was a little too high, but just how casual he was with it. He's like a warm blanket when you're watching him play defense out there. You don't worry about it.
No, absolutely not.
He's
He,
so awesome out there.
yeah, he is. And that's a decision Murphy's going to have to make. I'd rather have that problem than, who we going to fill our roster with.
Mhm.
They're in a situation where we have, as we say, they've got a bounty of talent to look at.
I just don't want him to overthink it, and I know this was a council one, but remember a couple years ago when Jesse Winker was on the ball club and he was not hitting worth a lick, but then they put him on the playoff roster in that first series just because they were overthinking it with the analytics part of it all and just still never contributed. I don't want him to overthink that part of it. So,
No, I think Murphy's more of a, I see what you do on the field. I don't go into my office and look at numbers.
mhm,
He's more of a game manager than
mhm,
than an accountant type manager.
mhm. Yeah. All right, we gotta take a quick break. We'll have more Brewers chat though. Hit us up with your thoughts. How would you, if you were Pat Murphy, how would you set up this four-man rotation, assuming that everybody is healthy? Assuming that everybody's healthy. And it's probably boiling down to how would you do that fourth spot? Would you go with a Quintana? Would you go with a Miz? Or would you go with, for I guess the best way to describe it, bullpen combo, piggyback start, however you want to describe it. So let us know. Hit us up with a text 715-830-1912 or comment on the video streams. Quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Do a little Throwback Thursday to kick off this segment. Let's keep it Wisconsin style here. We're going to go all the way back to 1938, September 18th, 1938, in a Packers versus Chicago Bears game. One of the lowest, it's got to be. I mean, I don't know how you get any lowest scoring games in history. 2-0. The Bears beat the Packers on this day. The only scoring came from a safety in the fourth quarter when Bears Dick Plasman tackled Packers punter quarterback Arnie Herber in the end zone. That's it. That was the only scoring on this. I guess you could end in a 0-0 tie, but in terms of a win, you can't get any lower than a 2-0 game for this one. So back in 1938, if anybody's wondering, the Packers did end up winning that division though too, with an 8-3 record back in 1938 for the Western Division. Those teams in that Western Division, by the way, little history note: Packers, Lions, Bears, but then it was the Cardinals and the Rams as well. So also on this day, elsewhere in the sports world, 1915, the first asphalt-covered automobile racetrack was opened in Rhode Island. Couple things for Mickey Mantle on this day. 1956, he hit his 50th home run. 65, played in his 2000th career game. So just a few Throwback Thursday little history nuggets this morning. So
Question: what city were the Rams from at that time?
the Rams, I believe, were Cleveland.
Were they? Because I
Yeah.
know it was the Chicago Cardinals, but
Mhm.
I didn't know where the Rams were at that time.
Let me double check, but I think it was the Cleveland Rams at that point. Yep, it was the Cleveland Rams. So they've moved around quite a bit too, just like a lot of like the Cardinals too. So
Yes, they have.
yep, but the good old days when you could watch football and come away with a 2-0 victory. How would that fly in today's day?
Wow.
People would be complaining left and rights about that whole thing. So maybe that's what I don't think that game tonight is going to be anything like it. You got Buffalo and Miami, but Buffalo might put up 50 points to nothing against the way Miami's playing so far this year. Who the
Yeah,
heck
Miami
knows?
might be looking for a new coach. They don't play better than they have the first 2 weeks.
Sooner rather than later at this point in time where everything's going. So, so yeah, you got that. Don't forget to get your picks in. And for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge, Packers will be back at practice later on today. Again, yesterday, fairly healthy. Everybody practiced except for Jaden Reed, which I mean, we knew that was going to be because he had surgery. So, but that means Aaron Banks returned to practice. Zach Tom returned to practice. Aaron Banks telling the media yesterday that he is going to play on Sunday. Zach Tom, non-committal, not quite sure. I'm going to say he's not, especially when he says he's still feeling a little pain when he runs straight side to side. He's fine, but still feeling a little bit of that pain when he's running forward. I would imagine they're probably going to give him another week. Matt LaFleur's not going to say that. He is a little gamesmanship at this point. But at the same time, the fact that he is practicing out there and Packers had 52 of their 53, and again, you can't count Jane Reed, but they are right now, pretty healthy for the most part heading into a week 3. And by the way, Micah Parsons removed from the injury list. So, and
Good
Jordan
news.
Love, no wrap yesterday on that hand too. So, good news for those guys. I would expect probably Micah Parsons to have a full workload this week, I would think.
I would expect he's going to get a lot of snaps this weekend, and I would assume that'll make that defense even better.
I feel like this is going to be a kind of I mean, Cleveland's defense is no joke either.
No.
I could see this game being a game where box score stats aren't going to be very eye-popping for offenses, but I don't care. Just get me the W at this point.
That's the bottom line.
So, if Zach Tom cannot play, if he can't play, do you put the rookie Belton, who has practiced and played exclusively at right tackle, or do you put Jordan Morgan over there to go up against potentially Myles Garrett?
That's a tough call because Myles Garrett is good. I think whoever you put over there, you have to give him help. You just have to. You got to, have another lineman pull or the back stay in to help block Myles Garrett because he is a force like Micah Parsons. You got to give him credit because he is one of the best in the league.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you overthink. I think you put Jordan Morgan over there instead of the rookie Belton. You look at the preseason and training camp and just experience wise, Morgan graded out. I mean, he was fantastic. And I know it's specifically mostly at left tackle, but the fact that it's Myles Garrett, I think you go put Jordan Morgan. If Matt LaFleur believes in what he's always said, the 5 best will play. If Zach Tom's not playing, Jordan Morgan's part of the 5 best. And I think you got to put him over there. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot. You don't mess around with it with Belton and put Jordan Love in harm's way or anything like that with Myles. Because Jim Schwartz would be stupid if he didn't line up Myles Garrett all day, every day against a rookie right tackle.
Oh, no question about it. And like you say, he's not stupid.
Mm-hmm. So I would think if it were me and I had a direct line to LaFleur, it'd be like, don't overthink this. Put Morgan over at right tackle. You're still going to have to provide some protection, extra protection, but I would feel better about Morgan than Belton over at that spot.
Oh, I think you definitely would feel better with Morgan because he does have the experience. And, like I said, I don't care which one's over there. You're going to have to give him some help.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it's going to have to be.
Mm-hmm. So, but we'll see what the practice report looks like today. See if Tom's out there able to do anything else, or if Aaron Banks can do a little bit more and such. So, today will probably be a big day in terms of some of that answers some of those questions, whether they're going to be active or not. And I know somebody said, "Why is Jaden Reed not on the injured list yet?" It's just a procedural thing. They could do it this weekend, and they're probably going to promote somebody from the practice squad. So they're getting the same amount of practice reps regardless at this point. So it's just a procedural thing at this juncture. So,
and I would think the Packers are focused. They'd like to get Jacobs going more in the running game. He's done well, but limited. And if I can get him going, it'll slow Myles Garrett down, knowing if we're going to put more emphasis on the run. There's so much gamesmanship here that it'll be interesting to see what the Packers' game plan is against Myles Garrett. Do they go at him? Do they go away from him? It's going to be fun to watch.
And to get Jacobs going is going to be a tough task because right now the Browns have the top run defense in the league, and they held Derrick Henry last week to just 23 yards of rushing. So that'll be very tough to try to get that going. I mean, even holding Lamar Jackson, who was their second leading rusher, to like 18 yards or whatever the heck it was. So it'll be really tough. It could be a game where you got to, I think, capitalize on your opportunities. If you're like Green Bay's defense, I feel like is going to be fine against Joe Flacco and that Browns offense. They like to throw a ton for whatever reason with Flacco and that. But Joe Flacco leads the NFL in passing attempts, and the Browns' offensive line leads the NFL in pressures allowed. I feel confident about the Packers' defense stopping that. The biggest thing is going to be who's going to have the advantage, in my opinion. Packers offense versus the Browns defense. If Green Bay, it seriously might just be a really low scoring game at this point.
It might be. Hopefully, the Packers can turn up the turnover numbers because that shortens the game in a hurry when you can turn the ball over, and especially in their territory. And, the shorter field you have against Myles Garrett and his buddies, the easier it is. Not going to be easy for any, but, if you don't have to go 80 yards, you can go 40 yards. It's going to be a lot easier. But they got to get more turnovers. That's one thing I want to see this defense step up.
Yep. So, all right, we'll take a quick break here. Let's go back to some more baseball talk coming up here as well as we get set for Game 3 between the Brewers and the Angels. How is everything standing up right now with only 10 games left to go in this thing? What are we at? Where's that magic number at? Also, don't forget to send us your fantasy football questions. Got a few of you chiming in either on YouTube or on the texting line, so continue to send those on over, and we'll get those to Mr. Balkman coming up here in just a little bit. Quick break. We'll be back after these few words. 10 more games left to go for your Milwaukee Brewers for this regular season. We know they're in the postseason already. Still yet to determine if it's going to be a division championship year, top spot in the National League. Getting closer to answering those questions. If you're looking at the Brewers' magic number with everything kind of going on here. So for the division, this is according to playoffstatus.com. That was updated at 2:45 this morning. For the Brewers to have the number one spot, it's 7. 7 is the magic number. To get at least the 2, it would be 6. 1 to at least get the 4 spot, which would be first round home field advantage on there. But division wise, it is down to, I believe it says 4. I'll have to double check that one because I'm just looking at for seating wise and such. But we're getting closer to it with just these 10 games left to go here. If you're doing a little scoreboard watching here and maybe kind of doing, okay, who do the Phillies got up? Because they just wrapped up that series with the Dodgers where they took 2 out of 3. Phillies now take on the Diamondbacks starting tomorrow. Diamondbacks are trying to get back into this thing. They're just on the outside looking to get into to a wild card spot. Same with the Cubs opponent. They're going up against the Reds. The Cincinnati Reds just a little bit back. And then they've got the Mets after this, too. And Mets are trying to hold on for dear life for that final wild card spot. So things maybe change in the last couple of weeks in terms of the opponents here. Cubs going up against a couple desperate teams here. We'll see where the Cardinals are at that point when they finish up the season there, because the Cardinals are still a couple back from a wild card spot, and that's who the Brewers will have after their series with the Angels here. So opportunity maybe in the next couple days by the weekend where that magic number can clinch or get or shrink a little bit further down the line here. But the Brewers are just 3 wins away from setting a franchise record for most wins in a regular season, sitting there at 94. The record is 96. So NL Central, by the way, that magic number looks like it's 6 here at this point. So, but getting closer, single digits, down to just 10 games. We'll be down to single digits after today's game for the rest of the regular season. So, how you feeling about the Brewers' chances to lock up that 1 spot?
Oh, I'm feeling really good. I think they're going well. I mean, if they were going to falter, I think they would have faltered about a week and a half ago, and they started talking about what's the number to clinch. And that's when they started looking over their shoulder. But they haven't.
Mhm.
And I think they're playing well. They're, put 9 runs on the board last night. That's a sign that they're playing loose. They're playing well. They're following what they've done all year. Who do you think in the National League is the most disappointing team?
In the National League, probably the Giants. And I know they had a lot of injuries, but they spent a lot of money. Braves were banged up quite a bit too, possibly in
To
there.
me, it's the Mets. With the salary they got and the people they've got, Lindor, Soto, Alonso. I mean,
I guess I was
to
looking at
me-
teams who probably won't make the
Yeah,
playoffs
well,
this year, and Mets are only 4 games ahead above 500, which is pretty disappointing too, considering like what you said, bringing in Soto and how they finished last year. You'd expect a jump, and they didn't have that jump this year.
they were never really challenged. They'd play good for a week and bad for 2 weeks. I was so not disappointed because I'm not a Mets fan, but I appreciate good baseball. And I think the Mets, to me, are the most disappointing team in maybe baseball, but definitely the National League, because I thought they would, whether they win that division or not, I didn't think it would be over this early.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think the Phillies would wrap. I give Phillies credit. They've been playing well. Schwarber is out of this world. But the Mets have really disappointed me.
How about American League?
I'm going to spin my head on the American League. I don't follow the American League as close as I do the National League. Let me run through the divisions in my head here quick. I never really thought much about it. But
You got Toronto, Detroit, Houston leading their division. Yankees, Red Sox, Seattle in the wild card. Cleveland, Texas, Royals just outside.
Texas, I think probably. I mean, they're in it. They beat the Brewers, swept the Brewers here a couple of weeks ago. I thought they would be farther along as far as in the standings. I thought they'd be, if not clinched, on the verge of it, but they're not. Are they probably the Texas Rangers, even though they're playing better baseball now? I don't think for the most of the season they were what I thought they would be.
I might go Twinnies a little bit.
Well, Twinnies got rid of everybody.
Well, they got rid of everybody because they were horrible and they weren't
yeah,
playing up to those. I mean, playoff team in that, and the division is. You look at that division. I thought there was maybe Tigers were probably going to win it to begin with, but I mean, they had some talented players and they got rid of everybody because they were stinking so bad. So I mean, the first part of the season, I'd probably throw a little bit of a Twins as an honorable mention for that.
Oh, I think you have to consider them, but I never expected the Twins were going to be a challenger for the pennant like I did the Rangers.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see the Rangers being. Although, if you go with the Bruce Bochy every other year theory, then probably,
Yeah.
and such. So, but no, there's always a couple every year,
yeah.
every league that you could pick in there and such. I just what's still like the whole Aaron Judge is running away with the AL MVP. I get it, numbers wise, average wise, they're up there, but still, I think Cal Raleigh, if he gets to 60, he needs to get more love. I don't understand why it's such a runaway race at this point.
I was going to bring that up too. That was one of the other points I was going to bring up. Is Cal Raleigh? He's a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Judge plays right
and
field.
a switch hitting catcher too.
Yes, and Judge plays right field. I mean, the catcher is so much. Well, it's obvious the catcher is a lot more involved in the game than the right fielder. So every pitch, he's involved in the game. And on offense, what he's done has been unbelievable. But I agree with you. I think Cal Raleigh is really getting shorted here.
I do too. Like
if Judge didn't play in New York,
I was just gonna say,
would this be a closer race?
I was gonna say, put Judge on Seattle, Cal on New York. Everything's the same, record wise, stats, everything's the same. Would that change?
Absolutely.
I think it does. And I know Cal's like batting average is what, like 246, 250 or something like. But I mean, for crying out loud, when we talk about MVPs and that, and you can say it a lot, it's like valuable. Otherwise, or valuable. Cal Raleigh has been more valuable to Seattle, in my opinion, than any other player in the American League at this point.
Yeah. And Aaron Judge is a nice guy.
Great player.
Hard,
awesome
great
player.
Nothing against him. But
and he's having a great year. But
this year, not to have Cal Raleigh being considered more highly than he is, I think it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
Yeah, I agree. Even I will say, because Ohtani's going to run away with it in the National League, Kyle Schwarber, I think, deserves even a little bit more too over there.
I agree with you.
Ohtani and Judge are probably going to win it based off the odds because they're so insurmountable. But I feel like those two guys are getting a little shortchanged.
They are. And you look at it, I don't know what Schwarber's batting average or Ohtani's batting averages are, but if Ohtani wasn't a pitcher and he came back and the little bit of pitching he's done well. But I think Schwarber too is getting shortchanged in the National League talk.
Mm-hmm. And that's a Phillies team, but it's Dodgers and it's Ohtani and that. And again, they're having great seasons too. But I just the season that we're talking about a catcher possibly getting 60 home runs. He's a switch hitting catcher, which how often do you see that, by the way? A switch hitting catcher.
Not very often.
And it's the Mariners. I know Mariners were thought of maybe a fringe playoff team this year, but I mean, for crying out loud. And I think it's even more remarkable, too, that Cal Raleigh won the home run derby and his home run swing wasn't messed up from the home run derby. He's still continuing that path. It's unbelievable. And I'm shocked that the odds are such a wide gap between the two. I really am.
I am, and the same story, I think, and I haven't looked at the numbers or the opinions lately of the National League Cy Young Award.
Mm-hmm.
I think too, Peralta's getting shortchanged on that.
Yeah, it's all intents purposes. Paul Skeens going to win it based off the odds. If we just use Vegas odds and such, it's going to be Paul Skeens on. It's got to, and I hate this because it's people who follow baseball are the voters in that. But you look at this, is it name recognition now, popularity for a lot of this stuff?
And I think, do you think this manner of picking these winners has to change? I mean, like the manager should have more involvement in this pitching and the MVP awards. Now, the writers, they don't see these guys every day. They look at the box score, they look at the highlights on Major League Network or ESPN or wherever. And New York, by virtue of being New York, is going to be in the highlights because I've been watching it all season long. The Brewers barely get anything. It's the Yankees, then it's the Dodgers, even the Red Sox, who are nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mets, Phillies, they're the ones that get all the time, the prime time. At the end, they'll say also in Major League Baseball tonight, and then they'll bring in the Brewers and, some the Twins and some of the other teams that they consider fringe teams. But I just think the selection process is
Mm-hmm.
past its prime for the way it's done it forever.
In the other part of that too is, the one thing, just to play devil's advocate a little bit. Okay, if it's managers, how much would they favor their own players? You would think the writers would be
Well, you can't
unbiased.
vote for your own player.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
all you got to do.
It'd have to be different than like how college football coaches vote for the AP poll or the coaches poll, excuse me, or they have an assistant do it and they just put our team first or put us up.
Just say the managers, you can't vote for your own pitcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how to fix it or go about it, but I look at some of these names and I'm like, really? I get it again. Aaron Judge is having a great year. Great year, but Cal Raleigh is having a historic year. And to me, that should be and the fact that his team is probably going to be in the playoffs. If their team is not gonna be in the playoffs, okay, maybe there's a little bit of an argument. But the fact that Seattle is probably going to be in the playoffs, it should be a lot closer than what it is right now.
Yeah, and why are they in the playoffs? How much of a percentage has Cal Raleigh's contribution helped get the Mariners to this point where that looks like they're going to be in the playoffs?
And I think it gets overlooked what you mentioned too, just how important catchers are to the pitching staff and how they call these games. That gets overlooked so many times, I think, because you just pay attention, or so many people just pay attention to what they do offensive numbers, and they don't, because there is no stat to measure what a catcher does for a pitching staff. So people don't read that or they don't look it up that way.
No, and I don't know what his throw him out at second and third on stolen base attempts is and things like that. But the catcher is he's the only guy that sees the whole field.
Mm-hmm.
In one glance. You say, well, outfielders do too. No, outfielders don't see the fence behind them. Catcher sees everything.
Mm-hmm.
And most important player on the team, as far as your pitcher, obviously, but that catcher controls the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're on the same boat here. His fielding percentage, by the way, is 996. I mean, that's pretty darn good up there. So
very good.
So, all right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back here to finish up the second hour coming up after these quick words. Dave with a quick text says, Dan, these are my starting pitchers in the playoffs and also the player that will rise to the top for the Packers with Jaden Reed injured. Brewers, Peralta, Miz, Priester, Woody. He thinks Malik Heath will rise to the challenge for the Pack. I'm enjoying the convo you boys are having on the YouTube channel right here, too, about all these different coffee flavors and such. Keep it. It's kind of entertaining watching these guys go back and forth about it. So join in the convo.
That conversation. I don't like coffee. I don't drink coffee.
I have to, otherwise I get caffeine headaches.
Yeah, a lot of people do, but I've never been a hot drink drinker.
Well, you can get it cold.
Outside of milk chocolate, hot chocolate.
You can get coffee cold brew.
Yeah, I'd rather have. If I'm gonna drink it cold, I'll drink milk.
Yeah. So, but mine goes back to being addicted to soda and all that. Now I don't do that anymore, but I need coffee to get the caffeine headaches to go away. It's good for the liver too. That's what I've been told.
Is it?
Black coffee is good for the liver.
Well,
so
good.
Kind of like flushes it out or whatever you want to, whatever the proper term is. I don't know.
Dr. Dan's medical advice.
Hey, when I heard that, I'm like, all right, rejuvenates, whatever proper term there is. So, looked like, were you going to bring up something before we went to break quick?
No.
I thought you were going to mention something when we were talking MVP stuff for baseball and such. So, but a couple more. Yeah, we got a Woodruff, Priester, Peralta, then bullpen start. That's from Eric. That seems to be the common one, the most common one going. And we're talking when we get to the postseason and such.
As a manager, Murphy here, if you were the manager, and I don't know how managers look at this, you got good pitchers there, Freddie, Woodruff, Priester. But as you look at their record and how they've done for the year, does Murphy or the manager look at all the season, how you did, or how you did against that particular team, and how much of a look do you have to have? 1-2 games enough, or if they pitch 4 or 5 times against that team, it gives you enough information that you can make a decision that maybe Freddie's not the best guy to start against Team X, the Mets or the Dodgers or the Cubs, whoever. Maybe it's Priester, maybe it's Woodruff. I wonder how much goes into that versus it's a reward for Freddie to be the pitcher he was all this year.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I mean, for Peralta, obviously we have a bigger sample size and just overall the season wise, I think it's probably, even if let's say it's the Cubs that we're going to play, and maybe his numbers are okay. They're not the greatest, but like a Priester's got better numbers. I still think Peralta would be the game one starter in this just because of the overall season. But if it's a guy on the line, then maybe it factors in. I'd probably say it's a little bit of both at this point, like a younger guy or something, or like a Quintana, if you will, at that point. So it's going to be interesting to see how they definitely played up. But we got 10 more games that we got to win and focus on that. I don't think they'll hit the 100-win mark, although it'd still be cool, but you never know at this point, I guess.
5 wins enough. They got to have 6.
They're at 94.
I realize that.
Oh, with 100.
What do you feel is going to be needed to win the division? The way the Cubs are playing pretty good ball right now. Brewers are playing good ball. It's, there's still 5-6 games. That's still a lot when there's only 10 or so left.
I would feel good.
6-4, 5-5,
probably about 5-5. If they can get 5 more wins, because that magic number is a combination of wins and losses. So I'll go.
And I don't think the Cubs can go 9-1 or 8-2.
Right.
Anything can happen, but I think 5-5 should be enough.
Yeah, I would probably go with that route too. I would think so. So, all right. Shot clock's going to cut us off here in a few seconds. Third hour coming up here. We'll talk some more baseball. We've got some more football. We've got fantasy football chats coming up here too. So send those questions on over for Mr. Balkman. He'll be joining us just past 9 o'clock, and will be joining us at that time going forward. So Two in. We got one more to go. Stick around. We'll be back after these quick words. All right, here we go. Third hour kicking off right now. Appreciate you joining in and joining in on the convo, making us a part of your start here this morning. Getting set for Brewers game 3, looking for a sweep against the Angels tonight. First pitch is going to be about 6:40. You can listen to that game on your radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Packers will be back at practice today, too, after returning to practice yesterday to get set for their matchup against the Cleveland Browns coming up on Sunday. Rasheed Walker thinks Packers could go undefeated. That's what he was saying the other day. So, and I love the social media age we're in 2025 because now people are just running with that thing. Like, what do you want a player on a team to say? Yeah, I think we're probably going to lose a few games or something. Come on. I want them to think that they're going to go undefeated. I want that mindset. For
Yeah,
crying out loud.
there's too much media out there. I mean, podcasts and all these things. It's just everybody's got a program or a podcast or something, and it does just overwhelm you as a sports fans, at least me. I like to make some decisions or some thought press myself about how good I think the team is. And, we all do. Not, well, so and so thinks they're not very good, or so and so thinks they're going to go undefeated. So I think they're going to go undefeated. No, you still want to have your own thoughts on the team, and I don't listen to a lot of it. I watch the games, draw my own conclusions, and I don't think they're going to go undefeated, but I think they're going to be really, really good.
And I just look at it from a standpoint. It's a player on a really good team, and the full quote was pound for pound. I look at these teams, and I don't really see who is better. I think we can go undefeated. Honestly, I want the confidence. I want the swag. I want the bravado.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to
So,
say, well, we won 2 games, but we're pretty lucky. I don't think we're that good. You're not going to get that.
Or I don't want him to go down the schedule and be like, yeah, that Philly game, I don't know. Or, we got to go to Detroit. I don't know. No, I want him to say we're going to go 17-0 for crying out loud. So,
one of the things that I think is going to be interesting going forward that a lot of these people have observed, the tush push. They've went back and shown pictures of that.
Oh, yeah, that was my grind my gears. So, yeah.
Oh, the offensive start before the snap.
Yep.
Yeah,
False starts.
I think it's going to be interesting going forward if they call false starts on that play, because they've shown a lot of times they've started early.
Those guards, those interior guards. Yep. Yeah.
So it'll be. I think that might be one of the most interesting things going forward to watch in the whole NFL season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If anything, maybe that's what pushes it over the edge where they do ban it after this. I don't know, but it sure kind of I don't know if that was by happy accident that the national game and they kept bringing it up and showcase it because from all accounts the NFL wants it banned. So maybe that kind of put it in the limelight a little bit more. So who knows?
It'd be interesting to follow. That's for sure.
Hey, just a quick note too. Blue Gold Volleyball, I want to bring this up. They got a big win last night. They're off to a fantastic start. They're 11-1, top 25 team. And if you haven't heard, which we've mentioned it before, but I'll bring it up again because tomorrow night they're going up against the number 1 team in the country, Whitewater, at the Sonantag. But here's the thing. Free admission for anybody. They want to set the Division III attendance record for this volleyball game. They want to try to get up to 4,000 people in attendance over there. They want to demolish this division record. I think it's like 3,200 or something like that. So if you remember last year, they did this with a men's basketball game, Chippewa Valley Nights, with free attendance. They want to do it for volleyball. It is at the Sonantag Center. Tomorrow night going up against the number 1 team in the country, Whitewater. Free attendance, so get on over. This Blue Gold Volleyball team's got some high goals again this year, so that should be pretty fantastic if they can pack that place and make it loud for volleyball.
I don't know why they can't. It's a beautiful place. If you've never been there, get over there. This is a good reason to go for the volleyball game. But I think the Sonantag Center is going to, as it evolves, and as these coaches and athletes get more exposed to it, I think the sky's the limit on how much the quality of the sports at UW Eau Claire is going to improve in the years ahead, including football.
Yeah, football's off to a 2-0 start. They're back at Carson Park Saturday going up against Martin Luther with a chance to start the season off 3-0. Oh, so before they get to conference play. Well, it's been a couple of years, or it's been a few years since they started 2-0 to begin the season too. So if they start 3-0 next week, homecoming against Stout to begin WIAC play, the 100th homecoming at UW Eau Claire. So.
Oh, that's great. No, I think the Sonantag Center is such a wonderful addition. I mean, they'll have more events going on in there, and it's going to draw people to Eau Claire for a lot of reasons, and athletics hopefully is the number 1 reason. But I just think what a facility.
Man, I hope they set that record tomorrow. And that's like the wild card in this too. Yes, Whitewater's the number 1 team. Blue Golds are a top 25 team. But I mean, if Whitewater comes in, all of a sudden that place is packed with 4,000. That's a difference maker for a top team coming into, lack of a better word, enemy territory.
Well, you're in Division III. You're not Division I where you're playing. If you're playing at the level of the Badgers in the field house with the crowds they have all the time. I don't want to say it, but is, volleyball here, is it still, it's growing in popularity. It's growing in the quality of the product, but is it still kind of a niche sport that hasn't caught on like volleyball has in Madison with the Badgers? And I think nights like tomorrow night, competition like that, if I'm a young girl and I'm looking to go someplace and play volleyball and I'm not maybe Division One, there's nothing wrong with playing at the Sonintag Center. You're getting a lot of notoriety. You're playing in front of a lot of people. I just think it's good, going the right direction.
Our latest episode of the Rollin' with the Golds podcast is going to drop in about 20 minutes, and our guest is head coach Kim Woody for the volleyball program. Not only talking about that game, but the new court that they got for the Sonintag Center, the dedication, Lisa Herb Court, who was a professor of mine back in the day too. So a lot of good stuff happening because the Blue Gold team now plays all their games or volleyball at Sonintag, making that transition. So,
where they should be playing.
So, but yeah, it should be really cool to see how packed they can get that arena tomorrow.
And I'd like to, that's why I say, am I wrong in saying right now it's a niche sport? Because I think when they, nights like tomorrow night are going to help. I'll raise the awareness of it so that more people are aware of Blue Gold volleyball and more people come to these games on a regular basis. What do you think?
I don't know if I'm the right person because I know about it, so I wouldn't say I'm.
No, we knew about it.
Well, no, but I mean, like for popularity, I think it's popular, but I guess I'm into it and that, so I don't know if I'm the right person to ask because I follow along with it all the time. So
well, that's good, and I hope more people like myself, even because I haven't, but I'm now that they're playing at this level, I'm going to go to some of their matches.
Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of it moved the needle for me when they won a national championship a few years ago. The Blue Golds did, obviously with what the Badgers have been doing. Obviously, with Nebraska able to fill a 90,000 football arena for a volleyball match and all that is definitely growing, like you mentioned, and even the high school level around here. There's a lot of really good high school volleyball teams that are well represented at state when we get to that point too. So,
I think so too, and I don't know, is volleyball at the high school level getting to be as popular as girls basketball?
Be a good question. I can ask Brandon tomorrow.
Yeah.
Who covers?
Yeah, he covers all that stuff. He'd be one to ask.
That'd be a good question. I'll write that down and ask him tomorrow when he's with us. So, but yeah, should be a good one. And I know there's other stuff going on. I believe it's the Memorial North football game tomorrow night too. So,
Memorial.
Yep. So there's a lot of good stuff happening around the weekend here. So, but if you can go check out that volleyball game at Sonintag, it's free. Don't have to pay a ticket to get in there. So. A couple more texts to catch up on for our Brewers question that we had. Priester, Peralta, and Woodruff along with Quintana, says John. Jim goes Priester, Quintana, Peralta, Woodruff. So
has Woodruff surpassed your expectations for how good he
100%.
would do? Okay, mine too. And I didn't know if I was, thinking that he couldn't come back, but boy, they did the right thing, nursing him along, baby him along, and when it's time, open the gate because he's ready to go, and he's showing he's ready to go. I think so too, that he's surprised me.
And I think that's why he is such a key player for the postseason, because you bring him back 2 years ago knowing he's going to miss the full first year and you don't know what he's going to be like in the second year. You don't know when he's going to be back. This is why you made that deal, is for postseason play, to have Brandon Woodruff on your roster. And I think the fact that he's pitching at the level that he is at right now is just even like more confidence heading into the postseason, knowing that you kind of have a vintage Brandon Woodruff, a little bit different. He's got some different pitches in that. But to have that veteran experience and that guy, like who Christian Yelich said a couple months ago, there's nobody else on our team that I want starting a playoff game than Brandon Woodruff. I mean, that's pretty high praise for Christian Yelich to go out there.
Because Peralta is having a good year right from the start. Priester has come on and surprised everybody. Mizorowski came on like gangbusters, and he's kind of leveled off. But he's going to be a good major league pitcher. Is he going to be a great major league pitcher? Remains to be seen. But for Yelich to say that, that's interesting to say the least with the Peralta situation.
And I think a lot of it is just experience. I mean, remember Woodruff was involved in the 18 series with the Dodgers, big moments and such. It's just a comfortable level and a confidence level too. So, but that's where I'm like, that's why they made that deal too, is for moments like this, is for playoff baseball, and hopefully it works out. But I'm excited.
Oh, I'm excited too. I'm really excited about baseball playoffs. I've said it. Baseball is still my favorite sport. When my team's involved, I like it even that much more.
Who's the one team maybe you don't want to, before we have to take a really quick break here, who's the one team, if you had a choice, that you don't want to face in that DS? Is it the Cubs?
It's the Cubs, just because of who ends up in that stadium. Are the Cubs going to own American Family Field? They've done it before in the regular season, and I hope they don't in the postseason. I remember the Brewers went to Wrigley Field and beat the Cubs in Wrigley Field, but I don't want them coming to American Family Field at all.
Yeah, I think
I'm not afraid of the Cubs. It's the whole genre and the overriding pictures over and above what goes on the field. I just don't want to see that.
That series, because it might very well happen, that one would give me anxiety, stress, because it's one of those, I just don't want to lose to the Cubs. You factor in the Craig Council thing, the whole Cubs rivalry thing. It's like, if you're Packers Vikings or Packers Bears in a playoff, I don't want to lose that one, because I don't want to have to deal with Cubs fandom, essentially. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. I know what you mean.
I don't want to deal with that, and I honestly feel like we're going to see that. Now, networks in Major League Baseball, I think, would love it, because it's huge talking points.
They would love it because it would give them more credence or more love of the Brewers, because let's face it, Milwaukee, a small market team. That's why we were talking earlier about on Sports Center. It's the Yankees, it's the Mets, it's the Dodgers, it's even the Cubs. They're big market teams, and they bring more eyes to the TV, and that's that means advertising revenue, and that's the way the world works.
And there is potential when you look at how it's all set up. I mean, in that divisional round of the National League, it could all be division rivals. If the Mets, right now, as things stand, it would be Mets Dodgers. If the Mets would win that, Phillies Mets, and if the Cubs would beat the Padres, Brewers Cubs. So it'd be all division rivals in a divisional series, which, again, Major League Baseball would probably like. Outside the Dodgers, they probably want the Dodgers in there too.
Oh, they definitely want the Dodgers.
Yeah, because then maybe somehow it could be Dodgers and Padres in the CS, and then you have another division rival. Probably the best baseball rivalry right now, Dodgers, Padres, a little bit in terms of animosity, where they don't like each other.
Yeah, the Padres don't like the Dodgers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And Dodgers, I think the Dodgers just are, we are who we are. We got that LA attitude, just fancy free. Oh, you don't like us? We didn't know that. We love you. And San Diego has, the redheaded stepchild syndrome. Everybody's putting them down below the Dodgers. So I think that's where that comes from more than anything. I don't think the Dodgers are aware of anybody that doesn't like them.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll have more, though, coming up after these few words. Don't forget we got a lot of fantasy football questions getting submitted, so do that so I don't miss one when we get to Eric in less than 1 hour. Going to the Badger game this weekend?
Absolutely.
What's
It's
your
gonna be
expectation?
I expect they'll win
You think
against
so?
Maryland. Yep,
All
I
right.
think they'll win.
All right.
They've got to get.
If they don't, do you riot in the streets after the game?
I don't think I will, but I'm sure other people will express their dissatisfaction. But the one thing they don't have on this team, well, they a lot of things probably, but running backs. I mean, the last game, the line was doing a pretty good job, but the running backs don't cut in the hole. They run right into the backs of people. Like we've had running backs for years and years and years. Braylon Allen being the last one that could make their moves and do some things. But the running back situation and the defensive back situation are two areas that hopefully they'll get better. But I expect they will win against Maryland. I don't think the Maryland transfer quarterback is going to play, but we'll have to wait and see. I think it's a game time decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. After this one, then it gets really interesting, doesn't it?
It gets brutal.
I mean, it kind of probably tells us, forecasts what the rest of the season's gonna look like for Wisconsin.
Well, most people seem to think they know what the rest of the season is going to be like, and to this point, I guess I have no reason not to agree with them for the most part. This is a horribly tough schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Really is a horribly tough schedule.
So if Wisconsin after this game, Wisconsin's schedule will be Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, at Oregon, Washington, at Indiana, Illinois, at Minnesota. As it currently stands, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ranked opponents in there. Although Michigan's 21 currently, Ohio State 1, Oregon 6, Indiana 19, Illinois in the top 10 now at number 9. So, yeah, say they beat Maryland, that's 3 wins. Is there 3 wins somewhere in that schedule to maybe get a bowl game in there? Maybe Iowa.
I really don't know. Maybe Iowa. Maybe
even Minnesota makes me a little nervous too.
Yeah,
so
Minnesota, they've stepped up their game with Fleck.
mm-hmm.
Well,
they
I don't
did
know how
lose
good
to Cal,
Indiana
so.
is. So, it's going to be rugged. They've got to win this one. Have any chance? If they don't win this one, turn in your shoulder pads because it's not going very far.
Got Indiana and Illinois this weekend, so one of them's going to drop down in the rankings.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But Brett Bielema is doing something right down in Champaign-Urbana. I don't know what it is, if he's got a lot of money or what the deal is, because Champaign-Urbana, I wouldn't think is as easy to recruit to as Madison. I mean, Champaign-Urbana, it's out in the prairie. There's not a whole lot there.
Mm-hmm.
So give him credit. He's turned that program around down in Illinois.
Let me. So this was it you, Surveyor, that said this yesterday? We kind of got on a little bit of a tangent of like some what ifs in the sports world, and I think it was Surveyor. If not, I apologize. Said, what if Brett Bielema never left Wisconsin?
He'd be in jail.
Well, okay, from a football standpoint, would he still be coaching right now at Wisconsin? You think?
Oh, I think so.
Successful?
I think so. Yeah, he wouldn't be here if he wasn't successful.
Mm-hmm.
So he left for the wrong reason. I don't know behind the scenes stuff, but I'm going to Arkansas to win a national championship. No, you're not going to win at Arkansas. A national championship with Georgia, Clemson, Alabama, LSU. It's not going to happen down at Arkansas. He's not going to win a national championship at Illinois either. But I don't think he's an appealing coach to hire. He's a homebound kid. He's from Illinois. He came up with the same story that Barry Alvarez did. We're putting a wall up around Illinois, keeping our good players in Illinois, which he is doing. Plus, he's bringing in a lot of outside recruits. But he's never going to win a national championship at Illinois. It's just not going to happen. Not the way college football, college sports is structured nowadays. You've got an outlier once in a while that maybe make it in, but there's no consistency like you're going to have with Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, Alabama, Georgia. Those teams are always going to be there because, and we all know the becauses.
So, in that same breath, it sounds like you would say you're never going to win a national championship at Wisconsin for football.
Not going to happen. Not in this day and age. I hate to say that, but realistically, I don't see how it can happen.
Yeah. Which makes it the last few years really more frustrating because, I mean, I'll bring this up the Sports Illustrated cover, when the Badgers and all the tight, or that's when there was a 4 playoff. Everybody thought Wisconsin was going to be a top 4 team. And didn't happen.
Quarterback. Can't recruit a quarterback, you can't win. And when was the last time Wisconsin had a quarterback that was a difference maker? Russell Wilson. After that, name one that's been good. They've won a lot of games. I mean, Joel Stave holds won more games than any other quarterback in Wisconsin history, and he wouldn't get rated among the top 5 or 10 quarterbacks all time at Wisconsin. You got to have a quarterback that can change the game. Stave didn't change the game. The offensive linemen and the running backs changed the game for Wisconsin, and some of the great defenses they had with all these linebackers we have in the NFL now and some of those guys. And we haven't had those in the past few years. Braylon Allen, is he the last great running back at Wisconsin? So far, he is. I mean, he's only been gone a couple of years, but they haven't replaced him even close to replacing him. And I don't know what the recruiting challenges or problems are. Is it money? Is it the school? Because for years it's always been can't get him in school because of the academics. Well, is that still the case with all these transfer rules? Does that still, I don't know how that works. With the transfer rules, what kind of standards transfer students are up against versus incoming freshmen? Their academic standards from whatever university they're coming from, are they accepted or are they not accepted? I don't know what all the inside challenges are to recruiting transfers.
I think a lot of it is change of philosophy of Luke Fickell of what he wanted to do and change, and it's set back everything here. And now he's trying to go back to what it was. And it's like, I think that's a big part of it, trying to change the mindset. And that's why they're missing out on some of those running backs or those offensive linemen.
Yeah, and you go back to when they brought the guy Anderson from Utah State or Morton in from Tulsa, tried to change the culture, and it set back the program for how many years? It really did. And is Fickell going to fall to that same fate? It sure seems to point in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get this W against Maryland, and then it's really going to get in. October is going to be interesting, I think, to see where everything's kind of lined up here for Wisconsin. So,
and they don't have the depth. We saw what happened. The center went out. He went out the game before, and then we watched the snaps in that game where number 73, I can't say his name. It was like last year where the center couldn't snap the ball. And then you had that one game they brought in a redshirt freshman, did a nice job. And then they brought in the guy that was the starting center at the beginning of the year. Then he got hurt against Alabama, so he's out right away. I don't know if he's coming back or not, but there's no depth either as far as quality of depth on this team. They're very fragile as far as their starting unit. They get hurt, they're even in that much more trouble.
No. All right. We got to take a quick break. Hang around for one more segment.
Sure.
Over here. So we'll do a quick break here. No Jake today. He's out of town here. So we'll catch up with Jake next week. So quick break. We'll talk some more football, but Packers coming up after these few words. So while we wait to see if Aaron Banks and Zach Tom are going to be able to play this weekend, Aaron Banks told the media he's going to be. Zach Tom was a little less committal to that. We do know Jaden Reed won't be playing, and we know Jaden Reed is not going to be playing for at least a couple of months here. So who is the player, for lack of a better word, benefits the most without Jaden Reed in the lineup, or who's essentially going to be taking over, do you think, or however you want to phrase it, from Jaden Reed? Who's got to be that person that steps it up? We've had some Malik Heath picks. We've had Dontavian Wicks picks. We've had Luke Musgrave picks. We've had Matthew Golden picks as well. Romeo Dobbs as well. My pick, I don't know yours, intern. I'm going Matthew Golden for mine.
That's why I raised my hand when you said
that. Oh, did you? Yeah.
I want to see him given a chance, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Turn him loose. He can run. He can catch the ball. Focus on him a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like, too, just from a style standpoint, you can do a lot of the same stuff that you want to do with Reed that you can do with Matthew Golden and that. And I know Golden was already kind of listed as a starter in that, but I think this opens up the door for more opportunities for him. And I hope they take advantage of it. Hope he takes advantage of it. And, maybe not see it this week against the stingy Browns defense, but going forward, I would imagine this is going to create more opportunities for him at this point.
I would think so. That's what they draft him for. He's a number one draft choice. You don't draft guy number one to sit on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And with Reed out, this gives him that much more of an opportunity to get on the field.
And I think you can utilize him in a lot of the same ways that you use Reed, inside, outside, jet sweeps, running the football. We know about his speed. He's under a 4.3 40-yard dash guy. So, and I think that's going to be key coming into a game like this against Cleveland, where I honestly feel like Matt LaFleur might have to open up the playbook a little bit more, become a little bit more creative to try to get something going, try to surprise Jim Schwartz and the Browns, and just try to create those scoring opportunities. I would imagine we might see a few different wrinkles in this game.
I would think so, and I think they're still going to go to the tight end. I mean, I was so impressed with their tight end play and their tight end involvement. That's the most I've seen with the tight end in the Packer offense in a long time. But it was successful, so they kept going to it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, most yards since Richard Rodgers, but Richard Rodgers, half those yards came on that Hail Mary in that Detroit game.
Yep.
So that tells you something. So, yeah, I would imagine, even you factor in a Luke Musgrave into that too, maybe a little bit more two tight end sets. But I think we're going to see a few things. Maybe, it's only been 2 weeks, but we've seen Savion Williams get a little bit more from week 1 to week 2. Maybe he's involved in it more as well. So, but no, I'm excited to see Golden maybe get a more of a, pun intended, golden opportunity moving forward here, because there is a lot of expectations and excitement. I mean, we were a lot of fans pumped about it, all the positive stuff we were hearing in training camp and preseason. Now there seems to be some fans a little down on him because he hasn't been racking up a ton of stats. I hope nobody's ready to jump off the Matthew Golden bandwagon after 2 weeks.
I hope not.
But I think he's going to get more opportunities now going forward without Reed. And missing Reed, I don't want to diminish it, is going to be a loss for this offense because of the versatility he provides. But at least I think Green Bay's got some adequate depth and options that they could kind of fill the void until he does come back. So
it'll be interesting to watch their offensive sets with Myles Garrett. Are they going to go to a 2 tight end set to help block him? Are they going to, just scratch block, so to speak, Garrett, use a tight end for some of these short passes over the middle, 6, 7, 8 yards at a time? It's going to be interesting to see how they line up offensively against that Cleveland defense. And where are they going to put Golden? Out wide? Are they going to use him in the slot?
Saw him at Wildcat last week.
Exactly. So I think it's going to be fun to watch how they create an offense without Reed.
I wonder, too, if we're going to see some more shotgun stuff, considering with the Myles Garrett one, just to give Jordan Love maybe a split second more to get the ball out quicker, to get just the ball out in general in that, which at times would, yes, eliminate the play action game and such. But I think at this point, you try to do something so Jordan Love doesn't take any unnecessary hits throughout this game and doesn't get beat up too much. So
No, that's got to be one of their offensive philosophies is to keep Love on his feet.
and that's when he's been really good this year. Like when he's had that clean pocket, he's been like dynamic in terms of numbers and quarterback ratings and such. So that's when and you could say that for a lot of quarterbacks, obviously, because what quarterback does play well when they're under pressure? But Jordan Love has been really, really good when he's been having a clean pocket, especially when it's come to deep throws. It's not been those dink and dunk throws. I mean, we went through the number yesterday. Jordan Love, in terms of his deep throws and the accuracy, he's tops right now. And that was kind of a concern with Jordan Love. Remember a couple years ago, that was like, oh, the accuracy on the deep ball and that. Well, he's gotten a lot better with that at this point in time.
Yeah,
So.
and without pressure, you can do it. I mean, there aren't many Patrick Mahomes who can throw the ball left-handed behind his back, under his legs, and things like that. So you need to keep your quarterback up. And I think the Packers' philosophy is going to be that. I think they're going to have some 2 tight end sets to help with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we'll see some things that, again, haven't been on film. And I think a big key in this is going to be the play sheet of Matt LaFleur, the game plan, and the chess match between Schwartz and LaFleur. Who's going to have the upper hand in calling their respective sides of the football? Because when LaFleur has shown that he seems to be like a step ahead of the opposing defensive coordinator, he's really in his zone too. And we've seen a few of those games throughout his career where, I mean, it is clearly evident he is in that defensive coordinator's head and thinking exactly what he's doing. So hopefully that's the case this week, but I feel like it's going to be a low scoring game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a low scoring game too. And watch, it'll be 42-35 or something like that. But I think it should be a fun game.
I think it'd be a little old school bruising type of game. Maybe a little too close to comfort for some Packers fans, but again, you look at last week's game and you're like, well, the Ravens put up 41 points against the Browns. Well, this is kind of what happened. Ravens got 7 points off a blocked punt, 7 off of a returned interception return to the 5, 7 points off of a fumble return for a touchdown, and another touchdown off a turnover on downs on their own 36. So Ravens worked with a short field for a lot of that, but they created the turnovers.
Yep, that's 28 points.
Mm-hmm. So if Green Bay can do that, then yeah.
That's why I said earlier, I want this defense to start creating more turnovers to make it easier on the offense. I mean, if the only way you're going to win a game is with your offense scoring, the defense once in a while in some of these games has to come up with an interception, pick six, or take it down to the 5-yard line, recover a fumble, cause more turnovers. Then I'll say this defense is elite when they start causing turnovers. They've been very good these first 2 weeks, but I want to see them create more turnovers.
I think they're going to have a chance to do it this weekend against Flacco and that offense too. I just hope they come away with some of those picks or maybe even some forced fumbles and such too. But I mean, you look at the numbers, Keyshawn Nixon right now, the highest graded corner. Carrington Valentine's the 5th, according to Pro Football Focus. A lot of that is because of the pressure too, probably to help them out. So,
any defensive back will tell you.
Yeah.
If our front seven can put pressure on the quarterback, my job as a defensive back is a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. All right, before I let you go, give me some predictions here. Badgers, do they win by 10?
No, I think they'll win by between 5 and 8.
All right, so they will not cover because they're favored at 9.5. So, All right, Packers.
They'll win.
They'll win. Think it'll be low scoring?
I do.
Let me bring up the line once. Where's the line at here for this one? Kind of curious.
It's low scoring. It can't be much of a line.
7.5.
Surprising. I think the Packers will cover.
Mm-hmm. Brewers. Next time I chat with you,
they'll be division champions.
Will they have the 1 seed locked up?
Yep.
So they'll be heading into the final series. So Week
We're
from
going
today.
for it all this year. We're going for it all.
What's the bare minimum you want to see from the Brewers in this postseason?
The bare minimum is win the World Series.
All right, I like
They've
it.
worked too hard all year long, and I think they would be tremendously disappointed too. I know they were disappointed last year, but the way the Cubs started out and the way the Brewers just kept clawing uphill, and then they got to the top and they haven't backed down. I think this team has got the right mentality. They've got the right toughness. I, you know, my goal is for this team to win the World Series.
I think
Anything less than that, I'd be kind of disappointed. It's been a fun season to watch them, but I would admit I'd be disappointed if they don't win the World Series.
it's simple. If you finish with the overall 1 seed, that expectation should be a World Series, right?
Yep,
Well,
absolutely.
maybe
I
it's
think
a little.
they've got the same expectations.
Mm-hmm. And I would, for a lot of those guys like a Yelich and a Peralta and a Woodruff who have been around for a while, they've been there before, and it's been quick exits. They're not just going to be happy to be back again. So
No, and I'd like to see Yelich again. Talked about Woodruff, as you said, the guy he wants on the mound. Express more of that desire to win and let the young guys know how hard he's grinding,
he
so
kind
they
of
can keep grinding just as hard, if not harder.
he kind of did that after they clinched, and he talked, and the Brewers released the video of him kind of talk. You want me to play it quick for you, if I can bring
Sure.
it up here? But yeah, he kind of
Because he doesn't do that a lot.
that we see.
Yeah, well, that's true that we see what he does in the clubhouse. Sometimes we don't know. We don't need to know. What happens with you and your teammates should stay with you and your teammates. That's what I say. Leave these guys alone. I mean, we think we've got to know everything they're doing and thinking all the time. No, locker room is a sacred place, and it should stay that way.
I agree. All right, this was audio courtesy from the Brewers. It was right after Saturday night's game, that comeback win too, and the Brewers had clinched before that. But Yelich spoke a little bit to the team here. I was just a little bit.
As I was listening to that, I was just thinking, we have friends for life and this and that. I wonder what kind of a relationship guys like Yelich, Woodruff, Peralta, some of the guys that have been around there a while have with Craig Counsell. Counsell left them kind of, he said he always wanted to manage the Cubs, always was a Cubs fan, which I think surprised an awful lot of people around Milwaukee. But and I don't know what kind of a relationship they had when he was the manager or they have now that he's the manager of the Cubs. He seems, and again, this is a 30,000-foot observation, he seems so aloof to relationships. How close is he really? To talk about he and Murphy being close, but how close in Craig Counsell's world is he with some of these people, and what kind of relationship these guys that played for him in Milwaukee and watched him step away when he was been welcomed back to Milwaukee with open arms. When he stepped away, for more money to manage the Cubs. Was it the Cubs or was it the money? A combination of two, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wonder about the relationship these guys, Yelich and Woodruff and some of the other ones, have with counsel at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Listening to Yelich talk about we're friends for life, and they're going to be friends for life. But how close are they, and how much did it hurt these guys? Because it hurts when a guy leaves and goes to manage probably your biggest opponent, your biggest rival.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard I think it would be hard to accept that. So I don't know, but when I listened to him talk, that popped into my mind. Where is the counsel relationship with these guys right now?
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks, intern. Good stuff here. We got to take a break, and it'll be towards the top of the hour, and then we got Eric Balkman joining us for the next hour, helping answer your questions, fantasy football questions. A lot of you chiming in right now, so last call for those. Text them on over 715-830-1912. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Service Master of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
When it comes to fresh, quality meats, my first stop is always Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Their brats, snack sticks, steaks. You can taste the difference in every bite. And with deer season coming up, remember, Mike's Star Market also does professional venison processing. So you know your hard-earned harvest will taste its best. Great cuts, great service, and hometown pride. That's Mike's Star Market. Stop in today at 2238 Heimstead Road in Eau Claire and see why locals have trusted them for years.
If you're struggling with weight and frustrated with dieting each and every year, Mark Patrick Seminars can help. Join the over 500,000 people who have attended Mark Patrick Seminars with feel-great weight loss results. Mark Patrick Seminars will be in Eau Claire on Saturday, September 27th.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I have lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
Early bird special, only $49.99. Lose all the weight you want, 100% guaranteed. Saturday, September 27th at the Best Western Plus Eau Claire Conference Center in Eau Claire. Weight loss seminar, 11 a.m. Registration, 10:30 a.m. Attend this program and find out how the power of hypnosis can help you achieve your weight loss goals. There's limited seating, so get there early. Learn more at markpatrickseminars.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-498-6548. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-498-6548. That's 800-498-6548. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies with nationwide LTE coverage. For a limited time, get 60% off and free UPS shipping at rapidradios.com. Use code RADIO for an extra 5% off.
Listen now, repeat your best points later, and boom, you're the smartest person in the room. Check out all of our podcasts at sportstalk1051.com.
All right, we only got about a minute or two left. So again, coming up next hour, we're going to begin it chatting with Eric Balkman, answering your fantasy football questions. A big thanks for everybody who has sent over some questions. We'll let Eric help you with your lineups. Week 3 of the NFL season officially kicks off tonight. Dolphins, Bills. You'd think there'd be some high scoring in this one, but the way the Dolphins are playing lately, it might be over with by halftime, for crying out loud. So we'll get to that. If you have not, if you weren't joining in a little bit earlier, we got a new Thursday segment called Am I Wrong? Give me your best sports take, your best sports statement that you believe you are right and you would debate about. Friendly debate about. All right? I'll read them off on the air if we got any good ones out there. But send those on over. Again, you can chime in on the video stream, hang out with the boys over there, or again, you can text them to our Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. Also coming up in the next hour, we'll throw some more baseball talk in there. We got more Packers talk as the Packers will be back at practice today. We'll see if Zach Tom and Aaron Banks can practice for 2 days in a row. Sure seems like Banks is going to. We'll see with Tom. Still don't feel like Tom's going to be playing this weekend, especially when he said he still struggles to run, like run in a straight line. Sideline, side to side, he's fine. But apparently running straight, still having some issues with that. So I would be shocked if he's going to be out there on the field on Sunday going up against the Browns. So, but that's related to my Am I Wrong, which maybe I'll revisit coming up in that final hour too. All right. Quick break. Final hour, happy hour, coming up after these words.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's your news done differently with Morgan McCarthy.
Well, good morning. Here's what we're learning today. We'll start on the state level with another hat in the political ring. This time, Wisconsin Representative Francesca Hong announced her campaign for the role of governor. She's from the Madison area, serves in the state assembly, and also works as a bartender and line cook. Originally elected in 2020, she now joins those 4 other Democrats on that side of the ticket. And across the aisle, there are 2 Republican candidates. You can find details online, 715newsroom.com. Primary elections roll over into next August. Of course, that November election. Stretching the lens a bit to La Crosse, police there investigate a recent act of vandalism at a local cemetery, as reports say it happened between 5 p.m. on September 10th and a little after 9 in the morning on September 11th, when a suspect, or multiple people possibly, damaged a number of headstones at the Oak Grove Cemetery. If you have any information, you're asked to take that to police. If you've driven in the Dunn County area recently, you've likely seen some of those signs that say no data center. Meanwhile, AI data centers across the Dairyland use real energy. A new report by Clean Wisconsin says 2 approved centers in Wisconsin, so we're talking about the Microsoft Center in Mount Pleasant and the Vantage Center in Port Washington, use 3.9 gigawatts of energy. What does that mean? They say it translates in normal people language to enough power for 4.3 million homes. U.S. Census data shows Wisconsin has less than 3 million. Now, there are other proposed or approved data centers in the state as well, as those efforts continue across the Dairyland, including here in the Menominee area. And what makes a hamburger better? Cheese. Pile it up. And it's not just a Wisconsin answer. Today, we celebrate the cheeseburger.
And there are plenty of deals out there. McDonald's is offering 50-cent double cheeseburgers through its app. You can also score deals at places like Smash Burger with burgers under $5 all day. White Castle will give customers a free slider with a promo code on the app, and Shake Shack is teaming up with DoorDash to offer a discount to customers. A recent YouGov poll ranks the cheeseburger the nation's 6th most popular meal. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
And you've heard Wheaties, Breakfast of Champions. No. Turns out Man Cave Light,
the nation's 6th most popular meal.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
Mainly cloudy skies continue across western Wisconsin this morning, and we do have a chance for a few isolated showers and thunderstorms throughout the day today. Temperatures will be topping off near 80 degrees later this afternoon. It'll continue to feel sticky out there throughout the day. For tonight, we'll see increased rain chances, overnight lows dropping down near 62 degrees. I'm 13 First Alert meteorologist Sarah Lighthizer.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband. He lost weight. More important, cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend went, and she lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months. So does Mark Patrick hypnosis work? Oh yeah, it works. Nothing has changed my life more. Well, except maybe my husband. He's so proud of me. Makes me cry.
Oh, wow. What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking. Guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. That's right. Weight loss seminar Saturday, September 27th at the Best Western Plus Eau Claire Conference Center in Eau Claire at 11 a.m. Registration 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Stock up and save on the toughest filters in the business during Wix Filters sale days at your local Auto Value Parts store. Not only will you get the best deal of the season on our very best filters, but you'll also find deep discounts on oil, fluids, grease, batteries, and more. Upgrade your filters during Wix Filters sale days at your local Auto Value Parts store. See store for official sale dates. Auto Value. We've got the parts. We've got the smarts.
Get your hands up! Warning, the following hour may cause uncontrollable laughter, bold sports takes, and the sudden urge to yell at your radio. You've officially entered happy hour on the Dan Kasper Show, where stats are optional, opinions are strong, and Dan might be running on caffeine or something stronger. It's the final hour. Loosen the tie, unbuckle the brain, and let's get weird.
All right, it is the final hour on this Thursday morning. We're going to get back to some more Brewers talk as we get set for tonight's series finale against the Angels. Reminder, that is a 6:40 first pitch, which you can hear on the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior. We'll also get back to some more green and gold talk as the Packers will be back at practice again today. Yesterday, Zach Tom and Aaron Banks returning to practice. Aaron Banks saying he's going to be playing this weekend. Tom, not that committing to playing this weekend. He's still a little bit unsure. So we'll hit those up again. But we begin this hour with the return of the one, the only Mr. Eric Balkman. High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, Fantasy Football Players Champions, RotoViz, Better Network, also hosts his own show over at The Score in Appleton. Dude, how's it going this morning, Eric?
Going good, Dan. So glad to be back on with you and talk fantasy football as week 3 kicks off tonight. It's a great time to be a fantasy football player.
Absolutely, man. And a lot of people are excited that you're back on because our texting line is loaded with questions for you. So I don't know if it's because they need a lot of help or they're just excited to get your input. Maybe it's kind of both, but I'm ready to dive in if you are, sir.
Yeah, fire away.
All right, so this is Chad. Chad's got actually a couple questions he wants to ask you. Flex question, PPR, wants a part of the Chargers offense, Quentin Johnson or Amarian Hampton?
Yeah, I mean, if it's full PPR, this makes it more interesting because Johnston apparently has just had a magnet to the end zone the first couple games of the season. He's already got 3 touchdowns. Hampton's been splitting a lot of time with Najee Harris, something I did not see happening earlier in the season or earlier in drafting season, obviously with Harris dealing with this eye injury. It's close for me, and obviously the Denver defense is going to do you no favors. However, Daniel Jones looked really good against that vaunted Broncos front last week. I still lean towards Hampton. Perhaps it's because I own a lot more Hampton than Johnson, and I'm more of a believer in him. I think it's valid to bring up Johnston over Hampton this week, but when it comes down to it, I think I'd be more likely to still include Hampton in there over Johnston, at least for one more week.
Another question, Kyle Pitts or Tyler Warren this week?
Yeah, Pitts has been really coming on, and he gets a really good matchup against the Carolina Panthers. It is on the road. However, I don't know how you sit Tyler Warren at this point with how involved he's been in that Indianapolis offense. This guy has is coming up on the upper echelon of the elite tight ends right now in the NFL if he keeps this up. And I do think he will. He gets a really good matchup on the road against Tennessee as well. He is questionable for this game right now, so keep an eye on that. Obviously, that decision might be made for you based on whether he practices or whether he plays or not on Sunday. But if he's active, I'm playing Warren over Pitts.
We got another PPR question. PPR wide receiver 2 and a flex. They need 2 of these: Troy Franklin, Michael Pittman, Juan Jennings, Jamison Williams, or Hollywood Brown.
Okay, this is interesting. So you got Franklin, who's the waiver wire darling this week. He's at the Chargers. Pittman, as we just mentioned with Warren, he's at Tennessee. Hollywood Brown is going to be taking on. I just had this in front of me. I apologize. He is battling. Who's at the Giants this week, so he's got a pretty good matchup. And then you said the other two beside. Jamison Williams was one, right?
Yep,
Jamison Williams, who's obviously underwhelmed a little bit so far this season. He gets the Ravens this week, and then the final one, Dan, was what?
Juwan Jennings.
Juwan Jennings, who actually came on quite a bit last week and led the 49ers with target share. So if you got to pick 2 of them, it's too early for Franklin. I think that number 2 Broncos receiver could change week to week, and when you have these other options, I think he is an easier sit here. I do like Jamison Williams. I think I'm going to play Jamison Williams and Juwan Jennings this week. It's close between Jamison Williams for sure against the Ravens. Jennings versus Marquise Brown is very close. I think I lean towards Jennings. He's dealing with a bit of an injury right now too, so keep an eye on that. And if he's still truly a game time decision, then I think it's a slam dunk Marquise Brown.
Staying with Jamison Williams, I might as well ask this because somebody else had texted in just a general question. If I can afford, should I trade away Jamison Williams after the week he had last week?
That is a good question. Maybe. I wish I could give a better answer than this because it kind of depends upon your league, right? I am of the belief that better games are going to come for Jamison Williams. However, I think the reports that this was going to be his offense this year with John Morton and that it was going to be St. Brown taking a back seat, I think those have been exaggerated. So I would, if you have to right now and you can get, 90 cents on the dollar for him, then sure. I think that's fine. But I do think you can wait. And I'm fine with getting rid of him too, by the way. I think you can wait for that game that he's going to have, 5 catches, 140 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That game's coming, and I think that's the right time to trade him. He did have the nice game last week, but quite frankly, anybody not named Laporta had a great week for Detroit in week 2.
We've got another PPR, flex PPR, RJ Harvey or Trey Benson.
Yeah, boy, the Benson thing in Arizona is getting very interesting. James Conner, I don't want to say he took a back seat to him, but we saw a huge switch in touches, snap count, and target share, and snap share, quite frankly, for the Cardinals last week. I don't think either one of these guys are a great start, quite frankly. Benson's at the Niners, Harvey's at the Chargers. The thing is, Tyler Bidet, something I didn't see coming, is affecting that Denver backfield as well. It's not just J.K. Dobbins. And you have a sort of a 3-headed attack there, where in Arizona it's just Benson and Connor. So while I would prefer to bench both these guys this week, if you do have to play one, play Benson because he should be getting more volume and more touches than Harvey will this week in Los Angeles.
Half point PPR flex position: Keenan Allen, Cortland Sutton, or Bill Krosky.
Oh, yeah, here we go. So half-point PPR obviously skews more towards the running backs here. If we look at the matchups for these guys this week, I just mentioned that the Chargers are taking on the Broncos, obviously. So Keenan Allen will probably not be matched up against Surtain in that game. I would imagine that's Ladd McConkey. If Surtain travels, which I should look this up. I don't know if he travels or not, but if he does travel and McConkey's healthy, I would imagine that McConkey would be covered more by Surtain than Keenan Allen. And then you have Krosky Merritt, who's everybody's darling, who actually fell on his face against that vaunted Green Bay Packers defense last week. He gets the Raiders, which is a softer matchup this week, and I think he's a solid flex play as well. It was Keenan Allen, Krosky Merritt, and the third one, Dan, was who again?
It was, let me bring it back up here, Cortland Sutton.
Cortland Sutton, that's right. A guy who took a backseat to everybody. Mims and Franklin and Cortland Sutton ended up having one catch last week in a game that saw Bo Nix put the ball in the air 30 times. He gets that tough Chargers defense this week. I still think I lean toward, even though it's half point PPR, I think I lean towards last week being a one-off, and I think Sutton gets a lot more involved this week. So I'm definitely sitting Keenan Allen. But it comes down to Sutton and Krosky Merritt. If you want to live dangerously, play Sutton, and I think I do here. Krosky Merritt's a safer bet for more volume, but he won't get the high-value touches that Cortland Sutton will get in the passing game.
All right, staying with a little bit of running backs. Mike with the text said, I'm in an 8-man league with 7 of my own children, and it's pretty competitive. I don't have a running back, though. I just didn't draft right, and I've got Aaron Jones, who's hurt, and J.K. Dobbins. And I was wondering if there's any names of young and upcoming running backs that I might be able to pick up on the waiver wire.
If you're in an 8-team league, I mean, there should be some pickups off the waiver wire that you can. I mean, I don't. Again, this is just guessing, but 3 rookies that sort of broke out last week in week 2 may or may not be available. And Quinshon Judkins, Cam Scadabo, and Bayshell Tootin. Those guys are probably all owned in most 10-team leagues and certainly all 12-team leagues. But I think I would look at those guys for sure. Nobody wants to talk about Tyler Algier, but Algier is still getting touches in Atlanta, sharing the backfield with Bijan Robinson. Everybody wants to talk about Bijan Robinson, but they forget about Algier. He might be available out there. He's somewhat young, I would say, a guy to keep in mind for sure. Kyle Monungai seems to be eating into DeAndre Swift's workload in Chicago. He's a guy I would look at. And if it's PPR, certainly Jeremy McNichols is going to catch some passes against the Raiders this week, assuming he's healthy. He's not necessarily all that young anymore, but certainly a guy that might be able to help you in a pitch. And the final guy I mentioned too, Woody Marks, the guy that only caught one pass on Monday Night Football for the Texans. 37 yards is what it went for, and he's getting more and more involved in that Houston offense too. So that's another young up-and-coming guy, and certainly another rookie to keep your eye on.
John has a question. My fantasy football question is, would you start Jaden Daniels this weekend, even with the injury concern? My bench quarterbacks are C.J. Stroud, and I picked up Daniel Jones this week just in case, and I'm having a hard time trusting Stroud at the moment.
Yeah, I would not trust Stroud if those are your other 2 options. I'm looking this up right now because I think that what it comes down to is when these guys play, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Commanders on Sunday have a 1:00 game, so you will know at that point. And Daniel Jones does not play until 1:00. Excuse me, noon. I always forget noon on Sunday, not 1:00. So you're looking at those 2 guys as the 2 players you're considering. If Daniels is active, even as hot as Daniel Jones has been, I can't in good conscience sit Jaden Daniels or Daniel Jones. I feel like the slipper could break this week or come off. I don't really know the Cinderella story, but Daniel Jones is a player that I get it if you want to play him ahead of Jaden Daniels. But if Daniels is active against the Raiders, I'm playing him.
Brandon's got a question. Zach Ertz versus the Raiders or Sam Laporta versus the Ravens?
Laporta seems like he came out of that game against the Bears healthy enough. He's not even listed on the initial injury report this week. It's close between these 2, obviously. I lean towards Laporta against the Ravens. I think that could potentially be a high-scoring game. For as much talent as the Ravens have in that secondary, in that back 4, they sure give up a lot of yardage. And so I'm going to roll with Laporta there. It's close with Ertz, and Ertz obviously has developed a rapport with Daniels, and obviously if Daniels is hobbled, he's going to be running less, and certainly more passes underneath and over the middle to Ertz. But I think I lean towards Laporta here over Ertz for the higher ceiling.
Let's do just a couple more here. Ben's got a running back question. Isaiah Pacheco against the Giants or Travion Henderson versus the Steelers?
2 guys that really, really underwhelmed this past week. It was really tough for Pacheco. I think he had 10 for 22 or something like that. And then Travion Henderson, who was a very exciting player during draft season, ends up taking a backseat to Ramondre Stevenson, and to add insult to insult, his other backfield mate, Antonio Gibson, scores a touchdown on a kickoff return as well. So, both of these matchups are decent. I would prefer, I guess If this is your running back 2, it's not great. If it's flex, okay, maybe. I lean towards Pacheco here. I don't feel great about it. Certainly the ceiling play would be Henderson. So if you do need that extra, if you are a significant underdog, Henderson's probably the way to go. If you're a favorite in your matchup right now, I think Pacheco has a much higher floor than Henderson does.
All right, last question here for you. Zach is asking, general question, would you keep A.J. Brown in a lineup or bench him after the first few weeks he's had in a PPR league?
I have been dealing with this myself in a couple of leagues, and I said I was talking with somebody on one of my shows on Tuesday night, and he said he's giving it one more week. But if we put up with one more week of A.J. Brown getting 2 for 20, where the Eagles are just setting the professional football game back 100 years with all this rushing, then he's starting to look at A.J. Brown as a sit. It obviously depends upon who else you'd have on your bench when it comes to A.J. Brown. I'm leaving him in, but some other guys that I would play over him right now that you probably drafted after A.J. Brown, I'd play Rome Odunze over him this week. I'd play Zay Flowers over him this week. Jackson Smith and Jigba, obviously you're going to play him over Odunze this week, over A.J. Brown. And Mike Evans I would play over A.J. Brown as well. So those are all players. If you have those guys on your bench, you decided between those guys and Brown, I think I would rather play all of those guys over A.J. Brown and leave him on my bench.
He's Eric Balkman, man. Fantasy Football Players Championship, High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, RotoViz, Better Network. You can catch his show on the Score in middays, 11 to noon, right, Eric? 11 to noon over at the Score?
That's correct. Yep.
And then also appearances on SiriusXM. Dude, you're all over the place, man. We appreciate you taking some time and answering some questions over here on this side of the state.
Absolutely, Dan. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the game on Sunday. I'm going to go celebrate with a man cave light now.
I like it, man. That a boy. All right. Hey, we'll talk soon. Okay, bud?
Got it.
All right. There you go. Eric Balkman. Good stuff from Mr. Eric Balkman this morning. Big thanks. And a big thanks to all of you who have sent over some questions. And a reminder, Eric will be joining us every Thursday, 9:05, answering your fantasy football questions. Let's take a quick break. Let's talk some more football. Let's talk some more baseball. We got more to get to. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Again, a big thanks to Eric Balkman for joining us and answering your fantasy football questions. I see we got a couple that came in after the buzzer. So, reminder, it's going to be every Thursday at 9:05 is when he joins us. So, if you want to get your questions in for next week, you can always do it ahead of time as well if you'd like. But 9:05 next Thursday, Mr. Balkman will be joining us. So, again, big thanks for him taking some time out of his busy schedule and joining us here this morning to help answer your questions. Packers going to be back at practice later on today, and we'll see if they're as healthy as they were yesterday. The only player not practicing that's on the 53-man roster was Jayden Reed, but we know he's going to be put on the injured list or injured reserve here soon. And so Aaron Banks said he was going to play this weekend. He told the media yesterday, I'm playing. Zach Tom was less committed. Said, we'll see. He said it still kind of hurts when he runs straight, like in a straight line, moving side to side. It's fine, but the running is still affecting him. So with our Thursday segment of Am I Wrong? Am I wrong? We're looking what this is. You're just like, what is this? Looking for your bold sports statements, takes that, you fully believe is correct, and you would debate about it. Mine is, I don't think Green Bay should overthink this. I don't know what their plan is, and maybe they're not, but I'm going based off of what we have seen. If Zach Tom cannot go in the game on Sunday, don't overthink it. Move Jordan Morgan over to right tackle. I know he has spent the majority of the preseason training camp at guard and at left tackle. And Belton has practiced primarily, has gotten game reps at right tackle. But to me, there shouldn't even be a debate. When we go back to Matt LaFleur's proclamation over the years, the 5 best will play when he talks about his offensive line. Every year, every training camp. If there is a position up for grabs, the response is the 5 best will play. With no Zach Tom, Jordan Morgan is one of the 5 best. And some would even argue he's one of the 5 best, even with Zach Tom in that lineup. Some would argue, is he better than Sean Ryan or Aaron Banks? But with no Tom, there's no question Jordan Morgan is a part of the 5 best. And not trying to downplay offensive line, but it's not like you're asking Jordan Morgan to go over there and go play center right away. He's got the experience playing left tackle. He's got the experience a little bit playing on the right side at that right guard position. He has shown his ability to be versatile amongst the offensive line. With this game against Cleveland, with Myles Garrett, I don't want to take any chances with Belton going up against Myles Garrett. I'm not trying to pick on the kid. Belton could go on and have a great career, long career. But in this game, with the goals in front of him, with the expectations of a championship and a Super Bowl, don't mess around with potentially Myles Garrett having his way against Belton and making it a rough day on Jordan Love. We don't need that. Green Bay doesn't need that. Don't overthink this. I mean, am I wrong in wanting to protect Jordan Love a little bit better? I don't think so. And right now, the better option to me is Jordan Morgan. Did I say protection Jordan Morgan? Jordan Love. Too many Jordans on this thing. But I believe Jordan Morgan provides a better chance of protecting Jordan Love than what Anthony Belton currently does. Am I wrong? I don't think I am. Don't mess around with this thing. Get him prepared and get him ready to go to right tackle. And throw him out there. And the thing is, too, you're probably still going to have a tight end over there. You're probably still going to, whether they're in line to help block, whether it's a tight end that's going to go out and chip, maybe a running back that's going to go out there and do a little chipping as well. regardless, I would feel better if there are plays where the right tackle's got to be on an island. I would feel a lot better if it's Jordan Morgan than Anthony Belton. I don't think you could treat this as a game of like, well, let's get him out there and get him some snaps and reps and let him get some experience. No. That can't happen. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. Jordan Morgan should be starting at right tackle over Anthony Belton. Don't overthink this. And if you're true to your word about the 5 best will play, if you're true to that, then let's see it. We'll do some key matchups, keys to victory, key players, sleeper players, or breakout players. Let's do like that. I think I like that term better than sleeper players. Breakout players. Or no, what did we do last year? Was it like gotta have you? Yeah, gotta have you players. I like that. Gotta have you players. We'll do all that tomorrow. But start to think about that for a little bit. Going up against this Cleveland team, I mean, I would imagine everybody is probably going to pick Green Bay. But I also feel like let's not overlook completely what Cleveland can do specifically on the defensive side. So, what are those keys to victory? I think a key matchup is something that we've been talking about right here is whoever is going to be playing right tackle going up against maybe Myles Garrett. What are some other key matchups? And who are those gotta have you players? Who are those gotta have you players? Like, again, if it's Belton or Morgan, gotta have you. Gotta have you step up. Gotta have you have a breakout game or have a great game. Maybe it's a Matthew Golden. Gotta have you. No Jaden Reed. More opportunities. Gotta have you. Agent Zero. Got to go out there and ball out. So think about that for a little bit. That's your homework assignment for tomorrow. Okay? Because I want your picks. I want your thoughts, and I want what you're thinking. I want your opinion. It's an interesting one, too, because of the defensive challenges that Cleveland can bring. And I do think if this one, we won't just keep it to the players because I think coaching is going to be a factor in this matchup too. The play callers. I think that's going to be a key. Week 3 of the NFL season officially kicks off tonight with Bills and Dolphins. It's a good reminder to get your picks in for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge at our website, sportstalk1051.com. The Dolphins get dominated tonight. That clock's got to be ticking on Mike McDaniel, right? That's got to be. Oh, that's got to be going. Tick, 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 right? Gotta imagine that's going to be the case. All right, let's take a quick break. Send me, for any last minute one, send me your Am I Wrongs. Am I wrong? Hey, come on. We got more. I know we went through a lot of them in the first hour, but if we got any newbies joining in, send those on over. I want your opinion. This is your program. We got to get your thoughts. Let's talk some more baseball coming up here as well. We'll pick some picks towards the back ends. Will the Brewers sweep it against the Angels? All that and more coming up next. Hey, I want to give a shout out to a couple of local teams here too. Eau Claire United U12 girls, U14 girls, U14 boys soccer teams. They all finished first in their divisions this last weekend in the fall tournament over in Wausau. That's going up against teams from all over the state, including Eastern Minnesota. So I want to thank a parent for sending that on over. Shout out to the U12 girls, U14 girls, and U14 boys soccer teams from Eau Claire United. That's impressive. That's fantastic. Nice work. Congratulations. So if you ever have any shout outs like that, you just want to send them on over, hit me up with an email or hit me up on my socials. Send a message over there. Then I'll add them to the list of doing some shout outs. Okay. So, but big thanks to sending that on over, and congratulations and shout outs to those Eau Claire United teams. Another just really quick Packers one before we get back to some Brewers. One of the questions that we kind of threw out at the beginning of the program too was, we know Jayden Reed's going to be missing a ton of time. And he's a unique player within this offense because of the many different things that he can do. He can help you out with jet sweeps, running game, inside, outside, slot, big plays down the field. I think a lot of people just kind of pigeonhole him as being a slot receiver, speed guy with jet sweeps, but he can do more than that. You can move him across the line of scrimmage, formation, line him up all across. So he will be a loss. I do think Green Bay's got depth in other areas to help fill that void, but just to fill exactly what Jayden Reed does, I think it'll be a little tough. And we've had people say Dontavian Wicks, Lucas Musgrave, Romeo Dobbs, et cetera, et cetera. If there was a guy, though, that I feel like can kind of step into Jayden Reed's shoes and do a lot of the things that he does, I do think it's Matthew Golden. Now, I think it's a little over the top to see some Packers fans or some of those fans on social media kind of like freaking out a little bit from what we've seen from Matthew Golden, like production-wise. We haven't seen a ton of it. And we went through a preseason and a training camp where Matthew Golden was fantastic. The writers, reporters, media people that have watched it or watched preseason or training camp, I mean, speaking glowingly of him, I mean, set the bar high. We had topics of that. It's like, what should be the expectation for Matthew Golden this year? And through 2 games, he's got 2 catches for 16 yards. So you've got some people who are like, oh, what's going on? I mean, you go to a projected, this is from the mothership ESPN. Projected targets, 34. Catches, 17, 136. That I don't think is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be that low. I don't. I get it. They're basing it off of what you've seen so far. And he's coming off of a game against the Commanders where he didn't catch either of his 2 targets. And you could, the throws from Jordan Love off. Matthew Golden will be okay. And this is an opportunity for him to kind of have, I guess if you want to call it, the breakout game for the rookie. Or breakout, I shouldn't say it's this game, but for the next few weeks, he's going to have breakout opportunities. And I just hope nobody is like really pushing the panic button on Golden just after 2 games. Let's give it a little bit, all right? They've been they've thrown at him a couple times, and yes, Jordan Love's throw on the 1 touchdown was a little underwhelming. I mean, he threw it low. I know there was some debate, like, well, Golden should have came back for it. Love should have threw it deeper. Neither here nor there. But I feel like Golden is a guy that can, if there was somebody who could fill the shoes, as Jordan Love said, Jayden Reed's a 1 of 1. But if there was a guy that could do a lot of the same stuff, it's Golden. We've seen him being able to be involved in the running game and jet sweeps and that. Savion Williams could be a bigger version of that. I mean, I think, for as much as he does with Wildcat and end arounds and jet sweeps, kind of forget the guy's like 6'3", 6'4". He is a big dude. I'm not saying that is, anything going towards him or anything. I was just like, he's kind of a big dude Kind of rare to see a guy of that size do all that stuff, but I think it's Matthew Golden. And I'm excited to see what Matthew Golden can do in these next few weeks. Because I think these are going to be a big next few weeks for him and a big opportunity for him to really showcase what he can do. Back to the Brewers. Again, Brewers looking for the sweep against the Angels tonight, 6:40. We got Quinn Priester on the mound. Quinn Priester, man. I know every time it's like his spot in the rotation, and I feel like we kind of bring up a variation of this, but I mean, what can you say about this guy who is 13-2 on the season, a 3.25 ERA, looking for his 14th win tonight, the winning streak that the Brewers are on in all of his starts. He may not get credited with all the wins, but when he does make a start, the Brewers win. I can't wait to see this guy, this kid, in the next few years as he continues this path with the Brewers. This trade right now was a fleece by Matt Arnold earlier in the season, acquiring him from Boston. Gave up too much for him. That was the narrative, right? Gave way too much up for him. And then it was on top of like, well, they're going to get him in a system and they're going to try to, quote, fix him. Whatever they've done with him, where they've really kind of honed in and focused on what he does well, has been fantastic. And you're talking about this guy who I don't think a lot of us would have said back in April would be part of the top 3 in a playoff pitching rotation. Maybe if they had all those injuries still, but just because of the performance that he has had all season long, he could be 14-2 after tonight's game. 14-2. I don't know if they don't. But when this baseball season is over with, if we took a look at all the trades that happened this season across Major League Baseball, if this isn't the one that has helped a team out the most, it's up there with Andrew Vaughn and the Brewers acquiring him. Those two trades, like if we would have to look back, maybe that's something that we can do when the season's done. I mean, we can kind of do it now, but I kind of want to see if maybe some of those trades have impacts in postseason for their teams and that. But you look back and you rank the most impactful trades during the season. Priester's on that short list. Andrew Vaughn's on that short list. You ask Brewers fans which one has been more impactful for the team. That might get tough. Because you can make the case. I think we can make the cases for both. Priester came in at a time when the pitching staff was just decimated with injuries. And he held the fort down and continues to hold the fort down. Andrew Vaughn came in at a time when they needed some more pop. They needed some more power, more production within the lineup too. Both of them have had huge positive impacts on this Brewers team. And those trades that Matt Arnold made have just been absolutely fantastic. All right, tell you what, let's take a quick break. We'll make that pick for tonight's game. Brewers, Angels. Will the Brewers complete the sweep? Will they lower that magic number to clinch the division? Lower that magic number to get that top seed in the National League. The Cubbies are going to begin a series with the Reds tonight. No Phillies game. They're going to begin a series with the Diamondbacks starting tomorrow. So there is a chance. There is a chance that the Brewers could make up a couple games worth here. So, all right, let's take a quick break, and we'll start to wrap it up with some picks, game picks. Plus, we got an NFL game to be picking tonight. Let's hit that up. Coming up after these quick words. All right, let's wrap up this program with some picks, shall we? Let's start off with the baseball world. Do some picks for some games today, shall we, before we get to our football game? We've got Cleveland taking on Detroit. Scooble's on the mound for the Tigers of Detroit. Cleveland picking up a 4-0 win yesterday. I think with Scooble on the mound, you got to get a win. So I'm going to go with the Tigers tonight. Padres taking on the Mets. Padres picking up the win yesterday. I'm going to go Padres again today. I'll go with that. Toronto, Tampa Bay, give me Toronto. Athletics in Boston, I'll roll with the Red Sox. Seattle taking on Kansas City. Kansas City picking up the victory last night, but I will go with Seattle tonight. You got Miami taking on Colorado. I'll go Miami. Cubs, Reds, Colin Ray, Hunter Green. You know what? Let's go Reds. I'm feeling it. Let's go Reds, baby. We've got Yankees and Baltimore. I'll go with the Yankees. Giants, Dodgers. Logan Webb's on the mound. Yamamoto's going for the Dodgers. I'm going to go Giants. I'll go with the Giants tonight. And then Angels versus the Brew Crew. Priesters on the mound. Let's do it. I'm going to go with the Brewers completing the sweep. Let's go. Brewers win. Cubs lose. Let's make that gets down the magic number. That takes 2 off the magic number. Let's go, man. So, all right. Then we've got NFL. Buffalo Bills versus the Miami Dolphins. The line on this one is Buffalo, 11.5. And I get it. I understand it. Miami stinks. Buffalo's offense for 6 quarters has been humming. I'm going to go, Buffalo. And I think they cover too. I think Buffalo covers by the 11.5. It is a mess down in Miami. Absolute mess. That is the highest, opening up as the highest line. The next closest one is between 2 of them. That's New Orleans at Seattle. Seattle's opening up as a 7.5-point favorite, and then it's Green Bay at Cleveland, 7.5. Those are tied for the second highest. It's even. I'm a little surprised with this one because they got a backup quarterback, but the Jets going to Tampa. Tampa is only 6.5. I know it's only a 1-point difference, but still, I thought that would be kind of close. But what do I know? I don't set those lines. So, all right, those are your picks for this morning. Tomorrow, it's a football Friday, baby. Breaking it down, Packers, Browns, your homework assignment, kiddos. Give me your key matchups. Give me your keys to victory. Give me your gotta-have-you players. Give me your predictions. So we'll talk some green and gold tomorrow as we get set for the 3rd game of the season. We'll talk some Brewers. Hopefully we're talking about a sweep for the Brew Crew. And then we'll be talking about that Cardinals series as the Brewers will travel to St. Louis. Jacob Mizorowski is going to get to start tomorrow going up against Sonny Gray. So hopefully Brewers get this sweep. Hopefully the Cubs lose tonight, and then we can knock off a couple games on that magic number list. But we'll definitely talk some Brewers as we head into, I think, kind of a maybe like a moving day weekend sort of thing, to use a golf term, moving weekend when it comes to magic numbers and that. So we got that. Brandon Berg will join us tomorrow. We'll do a little local sports roundup, as I know we've got some high school football games on the docket tonight, like Regis is taking on Durand, Arkansas. We got the Eau Claire North and Eau Claire Memorial football game coming up. Blue Golds are at home on Saturday for football, looking to remain undefeated, 3-0. We got the Blue Gold volleyball game, free admission, Chippewa Valley night tomorrow, taking on number 1 Whitewater, trying to break the D3 attendance record for volleyball. So if you got nothing going on tomorrow, now you do. So head on over there. So lots to cover for our local sports roundup with Brandon joining us tomorrow. We'll do our AJM Automotive Pump the Brakes Full Throttle and our Cream of the Crops too. So busy football Friday coming at you tomorrow. Last reminder, because I don't want you to miss out on making a pick for a game. If you have not made your picks for our weekly Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge, get to the website, do it now before tonight's game. All right. And If you want to make some picks with Underdog, hey, don't forget to use that promo code Kasper with a K. You'll get some bonus stuff, all right? Underdog's so simple to use, so easy to use with your picks. Download the app today, and first-time user, again, use that promo code Kasper with a K, and you'll get some bonus stuff in there too. So I got mine in already. So couple more texts to wrap it up, because we were asking a little bit earlier. If you were Pat Murphy, how are you setting up that playoff rotation? If it's a 4-man rotation and everybody's healthy, everybody's got the same 3, which I'm glad we do. It's Peralta, it's Priester, and Woodruff. Got a Quintana. We got a bullpen start. It seems like the other ones, it's between Quintana and a bullpen start. Mizorowski's the third. And it kind of fits where our poll question was, too. It was a wide margin last I checked. Over 60% said Quintana. Then it was back and forth between bullpen and Mizorowski. And reminder, too, like the bullpen, piggyback, combo start, however you want to term it, would include like Quintana, Mizorowski, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All those other guys. Maybe even a Robert Gasser, too. So that's – I'll be honest, I was a little surprised that it was that high for Quintana. I thought there'd still be maybe some more fanfare for the Miz in that game, or for that question, excuse me. So, but we got some time. Pat Murphy and the Brewers got some time to figure that all out. And difference might be, too, because if they can hold on and get that bye in the postseason. Makes a little bit of a difference there. Doesn't sound the greatest on Trevor McGill. Hopefully he's going to be back for the postseason, but it doesn't sound like he's recovering as well as the Brewers were hoping. I mean, that would be a loss at the back end to close out some of these games. I would imagine Uribe is probably going to close it out. And then you're probably like, okay, well, then who's the setup? Is it Mears? Do you keep Mears for high leverage situations? Is it Koenig? That may be a good question for Brandon when he's on tomorrow, too. Plus, Inside the Training Room with Dr. Crow. Bill Michaels up next. Have a good Thursday. Same place, same time tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Talk to you all then.